On September 7th, we have a total lunar eclipse, which is a full moon eclipse. And not just that, it is going to be a blood moon, meaning that the moon will turn red-orange. And this is happening in between two Virgo new moons, which is a rare event to have two moons happening, two new moons especially, happening within the same sign. Okay, basically, wow. This is a massive eclipse season, especially because around 6 days before this eclipse, we actually have Saturn, which has been conjuncting Neptune and has gone retrograde since July, re-ingressing into Pisces where it used to be, and then recently went into Aries, and now is going back into Pisces, the same sign where we are experiencing this full moon eclipse. So there is a story playing out here for sure, and we're going to get into that and more. First of all, if you don't know me, my name is Phoenician Priestess, and if you do and you haven't seen me in 3 months, that you forgot who I am, I don't blame you. It's been a chaotic 3 months. I was traveling, and I did actually record a video for July, but it was in the middle of a Swiss village, and during the heat wave that was going through. And so it ended up being not usable. And then after that, I moved home bases. So right now it's kind of in the middle, which is great. You know, it kind of fits actually, because this eclipse is exact on my ascendant, which if you understand astrology is fitting a lot of the things happening now. Okay, I digress. My point is I'm back, and I was almost not going to record this video because I'm incredibly jet lagged and running behind on so many things. And I decided, you know what, even if I don't do it with the fancy lighting, even if I do it with no makeup on except my lip balm, I'm still going to do it. Because like a wise woman once said, ain't nobody got time for that, because this eclipse season is massive. And actually, the portal for this eclipse, based off of what I've seen in astrology, every astrologer, of course, has different teachings. Every field of astrology has different teachings, modern versus ancient, Western versus Eastern, Hellenic versus, etc. You can go on. And even like, you know, micro schools, when I said Hellenic, micro schools of Western, micro schools of Eastern, etc. What I've seen is that the window actually tends to open 1 month before the first eclipse. Eclipses always come in pairs and will continue 1 month after the second eclipse. So really think of your life from around August 7th. That's really when things sort of started. And this energy, story, portal, etc. will continue. The window of the eclipses is open up until October 21st. Now, the real quote unquote window is the time frame from the first eclipse to the second. So that's going to be when the energy is truly the most potent, because you're overlapping two energies. The second eclipse is happening on September 21st, and is at 29 degrees of Virgo. Whereas the first Virgo new moon, right? So that's a new moon eclipse, the second one happening end of September. The first Virgo new moon happened at exactly 0 degrees of Virgo. So even though this is a total lunar eclipse video, because this Pisces lunar eclipse is happening sandwiched between two Virgo new moons, and right after, 6 days after Saturn re-entering Pisces and it being stationed at the critical degree at the moment of this eclipse in the sign that this eclipse is happening, I'm going to talk about not just exactly your sign forecast for that, but what does this all mean together? Because this is a massive arc, a massive chapter, and a big, big, big story that is unfolding. Okay, where to go? Okay, so the eclipse will be peaking at around 9:11 p.m. PST. Please feel free to convert that to your time zone on September 7th. And in terms of visibility in ancient astrology, I say we because I have a tendency to lean my liking towards ancient astrology, hence the name of this channel. In ancient astrology, it was believed that where the eclipse was visible was where the collective would feel it the most potently. So this eclipse is entirely visible across all of Asia. And just a reminder, that also includes the East Mediterranean / Levant / Fertile Crescent / Middle East, that whole region, Australia and New Zealand, and the rest of Australasia, and is partially visible in parts of Europe and Africa. And this one will not be visible in the Americas. Here, with the blood moon symbolism in ancient mysticism, it's adding a twist to the full moon that does amplify a little bit the meaning of endings, but in the sense of life force, purification, sacrifice. Now, eclipses are called by many, and I agree, I call them this as well, as the doors of fate, right? I also call vortexes the doors of fate because they also are. And what that means is they are fate activators. They accelerate karmic contracts. They accelerate endings. They accelerate beginnings. And the extent of this will really be shown on your chart. Hold on, let me make sure I'm recording. Whew, we're recording. Okay. The extent of this will be based off of your chart, how intense, how fast, how big the level of the eclipse is and where it's happening, especially particularly in your life. And I recommend, a lot of clients love to do monthly readings, but if you're not one of those and you kind of want to do some kind of transit reading besides your initial first reading, what I recommend doing it for is doing it for eclipses. You can do it the week of the eclipse, you could do it after the eclipse, you could do it before. And this video will give you as much information as I can in terms of a general reading. And I also recommend listening to other astrologers because there are so many layers and levels and interpretations that, I think it's worth it to get a lot of other opinions, right? There's only so much we can fit in a video and ain't nobody got time for that much editing. Ain't that the truth? Anyway. And so, I would do it for an eclipse because eclipses, unlike other full moons, new moons, lunations, etc., they are non-negotiable shifts. When the universe is talking here, it's making you listen. Same thing when Saturn moves. And both of these things are happening at the same time. Saturn is entering retrograde at the critical degree in the same place where this full moon eclipse in Pisces is happening. That means you really want to pay attention, A, to this forecast, B, to where Pisces is in your chart, because do you have lessons there that are incredibly important for you to learn? And you're being asked to turn serious about something. There's something here with commitments. There's something here with karma, right? Karma coming back, or karma, even positive karma coming back. And I don't mean that negatively. For some it might, for some it might be the others. And that's that's Saturn in its return at the critical degree. That is a pivotal point. So this is a really big deal, right? Because this means that the eclipse and Saturn are working together to change something in your life and to really bring something to your attention. When eclipses happen, the universe is writing in permanent ink. And the best thing I can do is not try to fight it. Things in this portal, this time frame from August 7th to October 21st, this timeline kind of might feel outside of time. Things might feel sped up, disorienting, intense. Revelations will come up, truths will be revealed, shadows will be exposed, closings will happen, completions will happen, things will culminate. You'll be pushed in sudden directions with Pisces playing a part here. Your intuition is going to be what you're going to want to follow. And your intuition will be quiet one day, and then you'll just be like sitting there on a plane or at a festival or, somewhere, and then bam, something pushes you and pulls you in a direction you did not expect, and you just find yourself going with the flow. Or bam, someone suddenly reveals their true self, whether it's a friend or a family member or a partner. And frankly, I've already, so sad to say, you've seen this happen to a lot of people, almost exactly the timing that this full moon eclipse portal, this lunation portal, I got distracted. I'm really breaking a lot of perfectionism tendencies recording this video right now. Okay, this exactly at this time that this eclipse portal has started. So this Virgo Pisces eclipse series started in 2024, September of last year, and is going on until 2027. And this one is the third in the series. We have a few more to go. Let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 more in this series to go. So think of it kind of like a chess game, right? And you're at the culmination, almost at the midpoint. The midpoint of the story will be the end of September, the solar eclipse, the new moon eclipse in video. Sorry, why did I say video? I told you jet lag. You have to bear with me here. But according to my friends and those who know me well, the more tired and delirious I am, the more entertaining I am. So I do hope you're enjoying it. What makes it a total is the fact that this eclipse is going to be in conjunction to the North Node, which is at 18 degrees of Pisces. So it's a 3-degree orb in a conjunction to the North Node, which makes it a total eclipse. And when we have an eclipse conjuncting the North Node, that is amplifying the fate aspect, amplifying the destiny aspect, and amplifying tide suddenly turning and amplifying what breaks away from your life in this time by itself. You let it break away. What is calling you to take action in this life, in this time, you follow that nudge, you follow that intuition. What is coming up for you to learn as a lesson, you do not ignore, or it's going to come and call louder. We also have Jupiter, the primary ruler of this eclipse, in Cancer, which in an exact trine, well, not totally exact, but in a trine to the eclipse. And that is expanding that water energy, right, between Cancer and Pisces. It is expanding intuition, expanding emotional reaction to things, emotions, feeling, expanding softness, expanding healing, expanding also themes of home, intuition, spirituality, emotional depth, perhaps the feminine as well. And this is, weeks before this, we had the Jupiter-Venus conjunction in Cancer. And so there is a strong relationship, emotional love, fertility, healing, union energy happening within this eclipse window. We also have Neptune, the modern ruler of Pisces, at 1 degree of Aries, still in conjunction to Saturn, now at 29 degree of Pisces. So this is Neptune, the planet of dreams and illusions, in fiery Aries, right? Which brings this action-oriented, act before you think, like explosive action energy, meeting Saturn, the planet of structure, which is now looking back and going into Pisces, the realm of feeling, of intuition. So there's a story here of reality versus illusion, of vision crystallizing, of our illusions dissolving, of karmic lessons be reactivated for you to learn, of you to see, where did I mess up? Where did they mess up? What should I change? What structures to put in place? What is illusion versus not illusion? Where have I been running from things that felt too good to be true? Where did I think things were illusion but weren't, and vice versa? And at the same time, we have the Virgo sun in conjunction to Mercury. And this is bringing epiphanies, clarities, and messages with karmic weight. This is bringing revelations in the form of communication. And with this sandwich of the Virgo New Moons, the first Virgo New Moon happening August 23rd at 0 degrees, and the second Virgo New Moon, which is the partial lunar solar eclipse, happening at 29 degrees. This is what's making this kind of blue moon style August-September book that is bringing Virgoan purification. And the Pisces eclipse sitting in the middle is really sort of bringing up what Virgo needs to wash away and purify. Okay, so what does this mean, right? What is the story here? I just talked in a lot of astrological mumbo jumbo, perhaps made even more confusing by the fact that I'm fatigued and jet-lagged. Well, what this means is, for some, this eclipse is a turning point in a longer karmic story that's been unfolding since 2024, around the time the series began. And it sits in the middle of 2 rare Virgo new moons. And this is making this Pisces eclipse that is happening on September 7th, the kind of watery release point between 2 moments of purification and reset. There is a massive energy here of birth and rebirth. And like I said, whatever is unfolding, even if it feels chaotic, confusing, even if you're trying to fight it so much, even if it feels like it's something you can't handle, remember, it is carrying the weight of destiny. And this one is 100% one way or another bringing some sort of revelation, culmination. But with Pisces being here, it's coming with the themes of surrender, spirituality, illusions breaking down, compassions rising, karma for some endings. So I keep saying this, if something dissolves or disappears, it's clearing space for what's meant to flow in. And if you're getting intuitive and emotional nudges, follow them, right? And with what's happening in Jupiter, with Jupiter and Pisces here, and its closeness, vicinity that it had been to Venus, there is a sense that what is revealed during the eclipse for many, and of course this will depend on your chart, may carry some kind of relational or emotional significance tied to either love, family, or healing. This is a time when reality is meeting dreams. Illusions are dissolving, boundaries are being tested, truths are sinking in. Oh my God, did this happen to me? And with Saturn re-entering Pisces on September 1st, only days before the eclipse in Pisces, again, that is underlining even more, like highlighting, circling, whatever, a karmic seriousness and a long-term weight to what is unfolding in this time frame. On top of that, we have a superior conjunction of the Sun and Mercury in Virgo, making this eclipse a moment of clarity and epiphany coming in the form of some kind of message, word, insight, intuition, etc., that land with extra significance. It could feel like suddenly for you, the fog is clearing and something undeniable is finally understood or finally said or finally seen. Just to recap, altogether, this eclipse is not just an ending and not necessarily an ending, though for many it may be. It is a threshold, and it is part of a wave of purification and surrender that is clearing away illusions and untruths so that we can step into the Virgoan harvest of purity, discernment, service, clarity, nurturing, and devotion. It is emotional, karmic, and for many, potentially destabilizing, but also profoundly spiritual and very life-altering. And I keep saying this, but it's going to happen to many, which is why I keep repeating it. What leaves now, trust that it was meant to go. And what is revealed now, trust that it is the truth. And what comes in now, trust that it's coming in for a reason. And what intuitive and emotional hits you're getting to push you in different directions, but coming from a place of surrendering. If it's something you've been fighting, finally surrendering to that versus you fighting against the tides of things. If it feels like you're fighting against something, like fighting against fate changing something in this time, it's not right. But if it's something that's intuition that you've been fighting or pushing down, emotions you've been fighting or pushing down, and it seems like the universe is conforming around you to make whatever you're fighting and pushing down easier to happen, then go towards it. Because this is a collective spiritual kind of rinse, wash that is aligning us all to destiny by dissolving what no longer belongs in our lives and by realigning what does. Wow, it's been a while since I've done an intro that long. But I hope this was insightful. Let's go now into the all signs. I forgot to mention in today's video, we will also be pulling cards and I will be doing a channeled message with that. So it will be combining astrology and channeling. And I've been reading tarot since I was 16 and I'm currently far beyond 16. And a very interesting story behind how I got into tarot. Basically, I smuggled it into a country where it was illegal. Anyway, separate story. And I started reading it almost as an act of rebellion. And lo and behold, things that were coming out, people I would practice on were true. And then when I moved to a different country and I moved to college, I would read for people in my university and they started bringing their friends. And so I've been doing this for a long time. And so stay tuned. Of course, this is general. It's never going to be the same as one-on-one, but these messages, the idea is if you're drawn to this video, and you stay to the end of the intuitive sign here, I really recommend then you listen to your sun, moon, and rising. And I hope that there's a message for you. And if there will be, you'll know. And if something doesn't resonate, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. As always, when you listen to general tarot readings, don't let it take from you. Just let it add to you. And you'll know if you need to listen and you'll know if something is for you. Okay. See you. And if you're wondering why I'm in a different outfit, it's because I had to re-record the next day. The jet lag yesterday was too intense. So we're doing a retake today. Hi, Aries, and welcome to your total lunar blood moon eclipse in Pisces forecast. It's a mouthful to say that all. The eclipse is happening on September 7th, 2025 at exactly 15 degrees of Pisces, and it will be conjuncting the North Node at 18 degrees of Pisces. So it's an orb of 3 degrees, which is what makes this as a total lunar eclipse, which means it is even the energy that is making it something that is very destiny related, very fate related, that is truly, life-changing, very important, and that will be felt strongly is even more amplified with the fact that it is in conjunction to the North Node, which is your North Star in terms of destiny and where your life soul journey should go towards. Be sure to please watch the intro for the collective breakdown and all the context, especially I explain what I call the Virgo Pisces sandwich story, because this Pisces full moon eclipse is sandwiched in between two Virgo new moons, which already is a rare event. It's sort of a blue moon-esque new moon. Blue moons, normally we use that term for when it's two full moons in a month. This is two new moons in the same sign. So there's a story there, and we'll go into that more with your sign, but I explained that more in the collective at the beginning. I'm re-recording your video because yesterday I recorded it after the collective one. And I think the jet lag and lack of sleep was so strong that it was almost, it was a bit too confusing. So we're doing this again. Now we also have Saturn's re-entry via retrograde into Pisces that happened on September 1st, 6 days before these eclipse in the exact same sign, which is also playing a part. Go into that more in the intro, and also that's going to play a part in your forecast that you're getting today. And we're going to look at the ruler of this full moon's part, which is affecting both the Saturn retrograde at critical degree in Pisces and the full moon in Pisces. Remember to always prioritize your rising sign first, and then listen to your sun and moon. For eclipses, that's the one time I genuinely recommend, if possible, getting a one-on-one reading with me or with another astrologer, since the exact way it unfolds in your chart really, for anything, always depends on your full chart. But since eclipses are so profound, especially this one is a total lunar eclipse with the sandwiching story and with the Saturn retrograde, this is big, and the themes are going to extend beyond just the next 6 months, although the energy here is being amplified from August 7th to October 21st. Okay, I'm curious how long that spiel took. 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Without further ado, Aries, let's get started. All right, so for you, Aries, this eclipse is landing in your 12th house of Pisces. This could be bringing up a lot of hidden or subconscious matters to culmination. Patterns of self-sabotage, patterns for your own worst enemy. Anything to do with escapism, avoidance could surface to become undeniable for you. You could be experiencing endings tied to things. You could be in a moment of solitude, or in a moment where your spirituality is very emphasized, or there could be ending to solitude or ending to old spiritual beliefs or habits. For some, this could be like completing a healing journey, while others, it could be recognizing you need to do a healing journey because of something that ended, or some emotional kind of boil over, or some kind of culmination, and like a culmination leading to a decision. For others, it could mean recognizing and stepping away from environments, habits, ways of thinking, etc., that really undermine your well-being. With this sandwiching effect of Virgo and Pisces happening, that is further, with the 2 new moons and the full moon in the middle eclipse. The two new moons, one of which is an eclipse, and the full moon eclipse in the middle of Pisces, combined with the fact, so that is even more heavily activating your Virgo Pisces axis. So this is highlighting a push for you to balance your daily routines, your health, and your service with rest, retreat, and surrender. For some people, it could be work and health demands that are clashing, that is causing a need for downtime, and a need to balance, your work routine, etc., with life outside of it. And it could be revealing to you where you've overextended. For others, it could be showing how your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your thoughts, your inner world, and your connection to spirit somehow play a part with your physical health and your daily routine, and how you show up at work, and vice versa, how they're affecting each other. Now, with Saturn having just re-entered Pisces at critical degree, and being retrograde here, this is really amplifying karmic themes, karmic lessons for you around discipline, boundaries, and spiritual maturity. For others, this is like you've maybe been going through a spiritual awakening since 2023, and maybe that went through like big chapters and changes or milestones since September 2024, when we activated this as an eclipse axis. 2023 was when Saturn first entered Pisces, and now Saturn, which ingressed into Aries recently, has now re-ingressed back into Pisces right when we're having an eclipse here. So your spirituality, your mental health, your healing, your emotional health, secrets, boundaries, the underdog, charities, all of these themes are somehow active. And this is playing off a story that has been active, or themes, lessons, etc., since 2023. And some of these lessons are coming up from possibly the last time to really test you. It's amplifying things also to do with, by the way, your intuition, discipline, boundaries, spiritual maturity, spiritual habit. You could be feeling tested in how you handle boundaries, isolation, service, your relationship to escapism, your relationship to God, what's the word? Other realms, spirituality, your own self internally, etc. I have no idea why it stopped recording, which I'm very sad to see because I don't know where I left off. So sorry, Aries, especially because this is already your second take. There's not going to be a third. I hate to say it. Okay, so for some Aries, this could look like, realizing that you can no longer sacrifice your health for work. And this could lead to a period of retreat, of therapy, of healing, of isolation, of focusing on that. And maybe it's triggered by a mental health slump, a kind of spiritual crisis. For some of you, this could look like a spiritual awakening or another big milestone in your spiritual awakening journey. For others of you, this could reveal a hidden truth in family dynamics that push you towards healthier boundaries. For some of you, family, the mother home, sense of home where you live, your home country even, could be a theme that is causing a lot of this spiritual, mental, emotional culmination, endings, changes, etc. Which does remind me, with how the ruler of this eclipse is playing out in your chart. There is an activation. Sorry, if I already said this, I don't remember. I don't remember what cut off and went to it. There is an activation for you. Something here is also activating family, home, ancestry, motherhood, family wounds, your internal emotional system, your tender emotional self, where you live, your physical home as well, like your apartment, who you live with. So this is somehow playing a part in all those spiritual, mental health, emotional health, healing themes. So either what is revealed or released in this eclipse could be rippling into that family dynamic or your living situation, or vice versa. That could be the catalyst that's causing it to boil out in the world of your emotional, mental, spiritual health. For some of you, it could just mean that those things from maybe even your past come up, that to be a part of the story, or that, that it's triggered that way, etc. Let's see, anything else? Okay, now I'm just going to do a card pull for you. One sec. Okay, interesting, because so I pulled one tarot. This is your channel message portion, and I pulled one oracle, and your oracle card, the combination, but especially the oracle, which is this beautiful card here, Shamanic Journey, is really reflecting. This is literally, I would say, this is truly the energy of an eclipse in 12th house of Pisces. It's talking about a vision quest. It's talking about connection to spirit. It's talking about attunement to your purpose. But some of you have been seeking that externally, not missing the signals that have been coming internally and tuning into that. And it's asking you to reconnect that internal self to the connection of spirit, and to let that be the calibration and the compass that leads you forward. And it's saying here that there is a change of thought that needs to be taking place, right? In order to have this play out in reality, and that there's been a misalignment, and that part of what this eclipse is bringing for you, and what could seem like hard moments, chaos moments, time spent, like I said, with family or a healing journey, or something to do with health, your daily routine, work life, whatever. It's somehow giving you a chance to retune to your inner self, to retune to your true spiritual purpose, your soul's destiny, your north node, in a way, and what needs to be purged to let purge. And what lessons have you ignored the last few years that had to do with ignoring or listening to your intuition, that had to do with connection to spirit, and had to do with these softer realms? All right. Okay. Thank you, Aries. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to comment below. And don't forget to listen to your entirety of your rising sun and moon, prioritizing always the rising sign. And I will check you out in the next video, where I will hopefully be less jet lagged and less delirious. Hello, Taurus suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your total lunar eclipse video forecast. Happening at 15 degrees of Pisces. This is also a blood moon eclipse, and it is conjuncting the North Node at 18 degrees of Pisces, 3-degree orb, which is what makes it a total lunar eclipse. To find out more about all of that, and to find out in detail all the aspects or the biggest aspects and biggest things that I'm considering in your forecast and your predictions, which I'll go into, which include things like what Jupiter is doing, the ruler of this eclipse, the sandwich between this Pisces eclipse and the 2 Virgo new moons, Saturn retrograding at this time in Pisces itself, where we're having this eclipse, what that all means, why this can feel like a very heightened time for a lot of people, etc. You're going to want to listen to my intro. And that goes into that in more detail and helps you understand some of the forecasting, like where that's coming from. As always, please prioritize your rising sign or your ascendant first, and then you can listen to your sun and moon. For eclipses, more than any other time of the year, besides, of course, solar return, I strongly recommend doing a one-on-one reading with any astrologer. And if you want with me, then you can find my link in the bio. And it has been my main bread and butter is actually a coaching business where I have a very different appearance when I show up there. And it's been incredibly busy and overloaded there. So if you can't find any time to book an astrology session and you want to, just email me and I will try and squeeze you in. And yeah, I really recommend it because eclipses are massive, but especially this one because of all the factors I talked about. And even though the portal that we're in is between August 7th to October 21st, based off of how I do astrology, amplified the most, of course, in the days building up to the first eclipse, which is this one on September 7th, following to the next eclipse, especially that window in between where they overlap. But the overall story can continue to leak as a theme for the next 6 months, etc. Okay. So Taurus, what's happening here for you? So for you, you could be seeing a major revelation or ending that can occur in your social sphere. Wow, I know. I made these notes before, and I just thought of a Taurus I know who I feel like for that person, their whole social sphere, community life, friendship life just took a big ending and culmination, very exact. Okay, so yeah, it could be a major revelation or ending, end of a chapter, culmination of something. This could look like people fighting. This could look like people, friends, communities, tribes that you're in, organizations that you're in, circles that you're in. It could look like either you realize you're not as aligned or they realize you're not as aligned. Maybe, eclipses are times where things that are not meant for you to drop out and things that are meant for you to stay. So if it's happening on either angle, in either way, right? I would just say, whether if you're on the receiving end or the giving end of this, just trust and just know that, we all have soul contracts with each other, and some of us are not meant to stay in each other's lives forever, and we're all on our own journey. And the best we can do is deal things with respect and self-reflect and see, how much we're causing an outcome we don't want or a situation that may have been unpleasant. Yes. Or you could do something that changes it somehow. Maybe you make a decision where you move, or you quit a hobby, or you no longer want to be involved with, and those two things, this is bringing it back, cause you to somehow change your friendship circles and your kind of tribe. Maybe some friendships or alliances or etc. may dissolve, or maybe secrets or truths could be revealed about the dynamics you're part of. Maybe that's even you. Maybe you reveal that you're less invested. Maybe they're less invested, etc. The eclipse really exposes things about where you belong and where you don't. And also, but because this is where Saturn is, oh wow, this is insane. This is where Saturn is retrograding here. Again, I'm linking it to someone I know. And it's interesting because the person I know is not a Taurus ascendant rising, and theoretically, in astrology, the most accurate part to indicate where it should be happening in your life is your rising sign. They're actually a sun. And I've been conducting sort of my own little research about listening to it as your rising sign, your moon sign, and your sun sign. And of course, the literature, the theory says something. But what I will say is when you are listening to these general readings, what I've seen the accuracy play out as is still the rising sign the strongest, but the sun is kind of the second strongest in terms of accuracy. Third, I'm seeing is moon, way less likely to find relevancy there, which makes sense, right? Because the moon represents the internal system, the internal world. Okay, sorry, back to going through my notes of what's going to happen. And so with Saturn coming back here at retrograde at critical degree, this is a critical changing point in lessons for you to do with friendships, soul tribe, and communities. There have been lessons that you've been trying to be taught since 2023, and you just haven't gotten them. Or maybe you have. So there's two ways. Go watch my Saturn retrograde videos on this in the past, because I go in detail of what happens during Saturn retrogrades, especially with Saturn being a critical degree, and what this means. And basically, depending on how much you've been listening to Saturn's lessons the last few years, this is the karmic reckoning time, right? Because it just re-entered Pisces. It's going to stay retrograde here until it re-ingresses back it stations direct again, and then starts moving all the way back into, and then re-enters Aries. But the critical degree, as you can hear from its name, is a critical changing point. It's a culmination point. It's a bursting point. And the fact that Saturn is in retrograde when it re-enters Pisces, the same sign where this full moon is happening, I am talking fast today, is indicating that for those of you who did not listen to the lessons that have been coming up to do with friendship, communities, networks, and long-term goals, either where you belong, where you don't belong, where you're sabotaging, where you have wounds, etc. The karma is coming forward for you somehow. And there could be an escalation of events to make you pay attention to lessons. Now, if you've been listening to what Saturn has wanted you to do, this could be positive things, right? This could be some kind of positive escalation in a friendship, in a belonging, in a community. This could be finding it. Or this could be changes or things that fall through for you to be better connected to it. It could be the positive karma. I don't want to scare you. Either way, whichever way it goes, it's not bad. All of it is good. And all of it is serving a purpose for your better good and for your growth. So just pay attention. Whatever falls out of your life at this time is meant to, and whatever enters in your life at this time is meant to. But pay attention to what Saturn is saying here. Saturn's lessons, right, is teaching us lessons and is about responsibility and commitment and karma, right? And doing right. And so pay attention to that, because the eclipse of it being in Pisces is one layer. That's just events, fate, change, etc. But the Saturn part in retrograde, a critical degree here, is bringing it back to you, bringing it back to lessons, bringing it back to responsibility. And so that's the really big theme of this eclipse. Man, I wish I had said that in my intro video. I did, but I said it across 20 minutes instead of this one line. Well, we're not going to re-record that, but that's basically it. That's really the big theme. And a lot of it too, with it being in Pisces, is how much of it ties right to your feeling, to your intuition, to you ignoring that, to you going against that. But also how much is delusion, how much is you in your own head, how much is, yeah. Okay. So with this Virgo Pisces polarity that's happening with the sandwich story of the two Virgo new moons and the Pisces eclipse in the middle, highlighting your fifth and 11th house, and the conflict between them is especially linked in this time frame. So this could be somehow about balancing the communities that truly support your authentic self with somehow balancing romance, this story there, or balancing personal creative expression with collective expression, or balancing personal joy with collective responsibility, balancing true embodiment with belonging, etc. There's lessons and themes unfolding from August to October to do with that. You could be tested on loyalty as well. You could be tested on boundaries. You could be tested on group responsibility. You could be the one tested on whether or not you show up in a friendship, or they could be the one tested on whether or not you show up in this friendship. So, and when we look at the ruler of this moon, it's somehow linking revelations in your wider social life that we talked about to something to do with either your siblings, an important message, an important conversation, important contracts, or important announcements that may shift your group dynamic and your group affiliation. Anything else to talk about that's important? Okay, so I gave a lot of examples here, but just to kind of sum it up of how this can all blend together, even though all of those together, you can kind of see on your own. But for example, some Tauruses may be leaving a draining friendship group and instead find their own voice in writing or teaching. Another Taurus may realize that their creative work requires a new network or a new audience, and that could lead them to end some things in some communities and expand in other. Some Tauruses could have not learned their lessons to do with belonging and friendship and balancing romance life and friendship, and then their karma could be coming back and they could be losing a supportive friendship community, and this could be testing their loyalty. Some Tauruses who have learned those lessons and have embodied their true selves and have chosen to align with true friendships could be being rewarded in seeing that loyalty come back to them. So these are just some examples of how all these different energies that link all these different houses and aspects and rulers and all of that could be coming together and playing together. Okay, now let's do a card pull, and I'll do a channeled intuitive quick message to end your reading. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. This is the second card pull I do. Listen, I've been doing, if you heard my tarot story at the beginning, I've been doing tarot for a long time. And I get as excited when things just so align. This is the second time, because the last one I just did was Aries, where one card is literally the archetypal energy of what I just forecasted for them. And for you, Taurus, it's literally Three of Pentacles in reverse, combined with this beautiful oracle card of the Phoenix rising. And the Three of Pentacles is a card that's often associated with collaboration, teamwork, working together, and showing up in a very practical way. And when we reverse it, that energy is in reverse. So that's lacking, right? We're seeing the polar opposite of that. That has all fallen in some way. What I'm getting here, and this won't apply to all of you. Like I said, when it comes to the tarot intuitive part, this is general reading. You know, astrology is methodical. It's truly like there's a science to it. But this is different. This is channeling, and this is meant for some people. So listen to it, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Maybe listen to your all your sun, moon, and rising, and see if any of those messages do resonate. And if any of them do, leave it in the comments. I'd love to know like what resonated to you the most: astrology versus tarot, sun versus moon versus rising. Anyway, some of you have been going through a very pivotal life moment. And some of you, it's a death and rebirth moment. So you're either in the death part and some are in the rebirth part. And for some of you, your reaction to this has caused you to lose some aspect of community and friendship, belonging, collaboration, teamwork. For some, that's a good thing. They were not aligned, and you have been reborn to embody a truer sense of self. And that purge is necessary. Okay. For others, it's the opposite. For others, your response to this cathartic moment, this moment in the death and rebirth cycle, you have not yet emerged from it. You could be at the death portion, whereas others could be at the rebirth. And in that, you feel deep isolation and deep loneliness. And in that, you have maybe subconsciously, or maybe just life circumstance, pushed others who were there away. And there is some issue playing a part here. And so your message is to retune to the self and to retune to what the message that this death is bringing, and what the lesson of the rebirth is meant to be, and what role teamwork, collaboration, community plays in your life, and why it is important for you to either focus on it if you haven't been, or to embody your true self properly and show up in ways that are importantly reflecting what you wish to receive in order to receive the right one. So I hope this message resonated. If you have any questions, drop them below, and feel free to listen again to the rest of your signs besides the rising sign, although do prioritize always the rising. Hello, Gemini, Gemini risings, Gemini suns, Gemini moons. Welcome to your full moon. This is a tongue twister. Welcome to your total lunar eclipse, blood moon eclipse in Pisces forecast video happening at 15 degrees of Pisces. What makes this a total lunar eclipse is that it is conjuncting the North Node at 18 degrees of Pisces. Please do watch the intro for the full collective breakdown, talking about the Virgo Pisces sandwich is what I'm calling it, the Saturn retrograde in Pisces, Jupiter's rulership, all the aspects, and how all of that plays a part in what I am forecasting for you today. Please prioritize your rising sign first, and then your sun, and then your moon. And eclipses are truly pivotal moments. They, especially this one, because it's a total blood moon lunar eclipse sandwiched between two new moons in the same sign. At the same time, Saturn is going retrograde at the critical degree in the sign that the eclipse is happening in. All of this is to say, this is a big one. So, I always recommend one-on-one readings for more personal information and for higher levels of accuracy. But this is like, if I really had to recommend it for one time, it would be for eclipses, especially an eclipse like this. This will show you how it's unfolding now, what the lessons are, all the different aspects, all the different points. I don't mean aspects in the astrological sense. I mean like aspects. And also how these seeds are going to be planted for the next 6 months onwards. And if you are interested, please feel free to book a reading in my bio. I've been really busy and booked up with work. So if you can find one, feel free to send an email to the email linked there. Did I link my email there? I do believe I did. I'll have to check with my assistant. Okay. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So for you, Gemini, this eclipse is activating your 10th house of career, reputation, and public identity, but that's not just it. So forecast for you, something in your professional path could reach, oh, who do I know that's Gemini rising? Oh my God. Okay. Yes. I already told that person this. Something in your professional path could reach a culmination, could shift dramatically, or could be revealing a hidden truth. There could be a lot of work pressure on you right now. Full moons bring changes, culminations are ending. So you could be thinking about quitting a job or moving culmination, like something is building up and like hitting this pressure point that is forcing you to make some kind of a decision. If it's not ending, it's a pivot or it's an expression, like an outward pour, like a volcano of that energy. It could be switching internally. It could be whatever. For some of you, there could be recognition or a turning point in your career that could arrive. Maybe it's a breakthrough, or maybe you've been working so hard, or maybe other times it could be a clear ending that pushes you into a new direction. For For others of you, this Virgo Pisces sandwich being created with the effect of 2 Virgo and new moons, one of them being an eclipse, sandwiching the Piscean eclipse I'm talking about right now in the middle, is further highlighting and linking together your overall 4th to 10th house axis, which basically means home versus career, private life versus public life, internal life versus somehow the external. So there's a lot of themes here. For some of you, this could be out of balance. Your work life is monopolizing, is really controlling the balance of your emotional world, your home life, your internal life. For some of you, this could be things to do with balancing professional ambitions with family or living situation. And this theme, the story somehow becomes unavoidable. With Saturn retrograde re-entering into Pisces at the time of this eclipse, having just re-entered into Pisces 6 days before this eclipse, this is adding further weight. This means that this is a time where long-term career foundations are being tested. Think back to possible lessons and themes that started around March of 2023 and maybe somehow showed for some people again around September 2024 and has continued throughout this entire time. Have you been paying attention to your intuition in terms of how it's been guiding you in your career, in your purpose, in your fulfillment? Have you been ignoring it? Have you been balancing responsibility and commitment with feeling, emotion, intuition? Have you been balancing home and work life? Are you aligned with your true path and your true embodiment? Are there any illusions that are still there? And so this is a time where all of those things are being tested. And depending on how much you've been listening to these lessons, Saturn has been bringing to you the last almost 3 years. Is that right? Yes. 2.5, almost 3 years. The less work you may have to do now. This is a time also to be collecting karma when it comes to that, whether good or bad. For some of you, any illusions that you've had about any of this are dissolving. So really expect karmic course corrections in your vocation, in your career, in your purpose, and expect, that's basically it. The ruler for this, Jupiter in Cancer, is sitting in your 2nd house of money, values, and self-worth. So some of these career changes, revelations, culminations, endings could somehow be directly tied to finances or a shift in how you value yourself, how you value your skills, how you value what's important in life, how you value money, how you're thinking of money, how you're thinking of making money, how you're thinking of budgeting. New income sources or endings in work could somehow be linked to this eclipse. Changes in your income could be linked to these changes in career. Seems obvious, I know, but the astrology is saying it. This eclipse could be, for some of you, clearing away a professional path that is making you feel undervalued or misaligned, so you can step towards something more abundant or that you love more. For some of you, you've already found that, and it's just committing to that or seeing the positive come forward. We also have a Sun-Mercury conjunction in Virgo that is illuminating for you family, home, property, emotional issues, mother, emotional themes. I don't mean to say the word issues, mother-related themes. For some of you, this means that some of these career things that are happening, or the way you're thinking about it, or the feelings you're feeling about it, or purpose-related themes, etc., could be somehow shaped by now thinking of relocation, or thinking of family, or thinking of household needs, house needs, thinking of your own internal world, your own internal system, thinking of where you live, thinking of, for some of you, a smaller minority, your relationship with your mother or a female figure. So blending it all together, all of those together is the overall theme of this eclipse, but to kind of give you like anecdotal stories of how this could all play in someone's life. Some Gemini might be thinking of leaving a job that consumes too much time away from family, or could leave it, or could suddenly experience visibility in their field that requires a new home base. Others could realize that their income potential is higher outside of their current career. Others could suddenly get fired, and then that could be a chance for them to move somewhere else and to meet someone. Others could realize that they've had their values out of alignment and they value different things now, and they want to live somewhere else or be closer to someone or somewhere where they feel very emotional. And that is causing them to want to pivot something career-wise. Others could be having high work stress and they work so hard and it leads to recognition, which leads to a promotion, and they're able to provide themselves with a better home life or better life situation, and they get paid more. So these are the different ways that all of this energy could play out. Okay, let's do a quick channeled message. So you're being called to be fearless. You're being called to remove certain obstacles that are in your way. And some of those, for some of you listening to this, remember, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. For some of you listening to this, that a lot of those obstacles are internal. In the past, you've gotten in your own way with decisions to do with career, purpose, where you live, how much money you make, what you invest in, what you do with your time, who you work for, what you're doing, etc. And suddenly you're having this moment, this reckoning. Fate is driving you to face those things and to be in tune with the fearlessness, the courage, the strength within you, and to remove those. And you're feeling drawn to what the outcome would have been had those not been in place. You're being drawn as well to tap into your intuition, and that involves you falling away from your head and into your heart, into more of a grounded energy, less thinking, less logic, less stuck in information gathering and analysis mode, less paralyzed in fear, and dropping more into belief and faith and letting the body and the intuition guide you, and grounding these wants into reality. The universe is giving you a chance now. It's a time window that is very fertile for you to plant these seeds and grow them into the reality. Please let me know if you have any questions, and let me know which of your readings resonates more: astrology versus tarot, or channel messages, rising versus ascendant versus sun, etc. I love to hear these things. And yeah, catch you in another reading. Hello, Cancer suns, Cancer's rising, Cancer moons. Welcome to your total lunar eclipse in Pisces forecast video. This is a blood moon eclipse conjuncting the North Node, which is what makes it a total lunar eclipse. And the North Node is at 18 degrees of Pisces. So we're working with a 3-degree orb here. For the eclipse is at 15 degrees of Pisces. The eclipse will be happening at September 7th, 2025 for most people in the world. To find out more about this eclipse, the times and where in the world it would be felt the most, as well as all the other aspects that I'm using for forecasting, as well as what makes this special, including the rare Virgo double new moon and the Jupiter's role as the leader and ruler of this eclipse. Please watch the intro for the full breakdown. Remember to prioritize listening to your rising sign, and then your sun, and then your moon, and to get an even more accurate forecast, especially because eclipses can unfold over months, and they bring always life-changing events and always a culmination of energy. A personal reading, and I'm not just saying this, but truly for the eclipse time, a personal reading helps the most. However, listen to your sun, moon, and rising, listen to a bunch of different astrologers, and that can provide you still with a lot of guidance. Okay, let's jump into this. Oh, one last thing. At the end of this, I will be doing a channeled message using tarot to listen to my little story of how I got into tarot at the beginning. Well, I was going to say listen at the beginning, but listen in the intro for that as well. Okay, so for you, Cancer, a belief system, an education path, a travel plan, a spiritual awakening, or something to do with foreign lands could come to a culmination, an ending point, or reveal its truth. You could be experiencing a sudden shift, a sudden ending, a sudden culmination, a sudden reality, bringing points related to teaching, publishing, long distance travel, legal matters, astrology, travel, higher learning, spirituality, worldview, etc. And for some, this could mean something like finishing a course or a new program, having a spiritual awakening, ending an old way that you viewed life, or that you're ending an old life philosophy. If you've been spending time traveling, ending that, realizing you want to shift and move somewhere foreign, etc. My notes. And a lot of this is being driven by changes that are coming in your expansion of your sense of self. So this is being driven by a lot of changes in your creed, what I call your I am, right? Like, who are you? What do you stand for? How people perceive you, how you deal with the world, the face of which you deal with the world, the face of you that the world sees first, how you view yourself, how you handle yourself, how much of that is truly embodied. Even for some, your appearance, your body, how you carry yourself. This is somehow driving or being connected to some of the changes and shifts that are happening with spirituality, your worldview, travel, higher learning, etc. Now, with all the Virgo Pisces combined activity, it's further highlighting your 3rd to 9th house axis, which basically means everyday communication, everyday small intellectual thought versus big picture perspective, big picture thinking. So what this means is a truth that is revealed could somehow change how you speak, how you teach, how you engage with your immediate environment. Similarly, something that seems menial at first, conversations, a message you receive, an email you receive, an ad that gets you, a conversation with a sibling or a neighbor, etc., or a free course you take or something can trigger something in you that causes you to book some kind of foreign travel or sign up for a new degree or trigger a new worldview or a new spiritual outlook. With Saturn retrograding back into Pisces here, this is really adding a lot of karmic weight into your 9th house. So this could be the crumbling of any illusions you had about your worldview, about faith, about institutions, higher educations that could dissolve. This is also calling a need for discipline, commitment when it comes to your spiritual practice, or an intellectual focus that is somehow being demanded. This is asking you to bring some structure and realism and commitment to the realm of the spiritual, the higher learning, the worldview, the life philosophy, the bigger picture. For a lot of you, this is looking like a spiritual awakening or a big merger, a big point of a spiritual awakening, a crumbling of a system, a crumbling of a life philosophy, a crumbling of a worldview, a crumbling of a lot of the sense of self that we've seen, perceived, etc. And if you've been having lessons about that the last few years, you've been ignoring them, this is the time where it comes hitting hard. But if you've been listening to it and flowing in the way that it wants, right? Saturn here is asking you to connect your intuition and where you're pulled to with actual real action, with discipline, with discernment. Then this is, if you've been doing that, then this is the point that could be bringing beautiful karmic things unfolding, karmic fruit. Maybe you have some kind of a breakthrough when it comes to that. Maybe you find some kind of retreat somewhere foreign, which, by the way, I'm hosting a retreat in April. If you want to come, put a comment below. Me and I have some amazing facilitators with me that will be there. Side note. Okay. So yes, this is a time where you have extra presence and your presence, extra magnetism, because for you, Jupiter here is actually trining this eclipse, and Jupiter is the ruler of this eclipse. And Jupiter is in Cancer, your own sign. So this is like, you have extra luck in this time. So even if some things seem chaotic, seem not good, just know that you have really extra luck in this time, and that your personal growth is somehow being directly tied to the beliefs and perspective and worldviews and changes and location-based things that you could be asked to be letting go of. So, combining all that together really shows you the full picture. But if we, to give examples of how to blend this all together, for example, one Cancer could end a course of study or travel, or plan to commit to something bigger. or book a trip or move somewhere foreign, right? Or start dating someone internationally. Or they could realize that a belief system no longer resonates. Or they could have their awakening and see that the way they thought the world was run somehow shifts. And this opens a path for a new worldview. Others could be publishing or teaching something that changes how others see them and how they view themselves and makes them feel like an authority more in their own life. Okay, let's do a card pull. Or sorry, we're going to pull multiple cards, actually, 2 cards. And then I will channel. Bear with me here as I shuffle. All right, Cancers. Cancers, you have been feeling more emotional than usual recently. And you're used to feeling emotional in general, but now there seems to be a deep well of emotion, a deep well in the sense that you don't know where it's coming from, and you thought you've expressed it, you thought you've gone through it, and then you're finding there's more and more and more that's coming out. Stuff from the past is coming up. Stuff from things you don't even understand that doesn't even seem like it belongs to you is coming up. And a lot of this has made you feel a little bit overwhelmed, and that's made you kind of want to shut away from the world. You've been bad at responding. Story of my life, the responding part, outside of professional things. You've been closing yourself up. You've been hermiting. And some of you feel like you've been over giving, over nurturing, but not nurturing of yourself. And a lot of this has caused you to go internal, to look internally and ask yourself why. And the message here is, you know why, right? There are times in the past where you've abandoned yourself, times in the past where you ignored your intuition, times in the past where you ignored the importance of embodiment of your higher ideals, the long-term path, who you really are with how you act, who you help, who you service, how you show up, how you present yourself. And a lot of what this eclipse is bringing to you is that this time, these emotions that are coming up, they're coming up for a reason. These events that are stirring them within you because they're trying to change something within you. And this hermit mode you feel, even if you feel it's self-inflicted, whether you're choosing isolation or if you feel isolated because you feel like you have no one, to just trust that it's serving a purpose and that there's a breakthrough here that is trying to come through. It's trying to push you into one direction, and your intuition knows what that direction is. And it's something that you could have been fighting for a while, and that it's necessary for your overall path to growth and your overall path to a greater sense of meaning and a greater sense of happiness that actually feels lasting, and a greater sense of peace that feels lasting, and that is in true embodiment of yourself. Okay, Cancer, if any of that resonated, please feel free to leave a comment below. And I will see you in the next reading. Hi, Leo risings, Leo suns, and Leo moons. Welcome to your brain rot. Sorry, this is the part that always gets me. Welcome to your total lunar eclipse in Pisces, blood moon, full moon eclipse video. You see why? Okay. So we are in eclipse season. We've been in eclipse season since August 7th, and it will last until October 21st based on how I calculated. Different astrologers and different methodologies. Different astrologers and different schools of astrology have different methodologies that different astrologers build on and change based off of what they've seen in their practice and their research and their studies and their favorite and all this stuff. And the most potent time is, of course, the week building up to the first eclipse, which is happening right now, the one that this is the main center for the video, which is the Pisces eclipse happening on September 7th, 2025. And then until the next eclipse, that window in between where there's the overlap between the September 7th eclipse and the September 21st eclipse is the most potent. But you would have maybe started feeling these themes or feeling an intensity and an energetic buildup, or some of these stories unfolding from the beginning of August up until the end of October. Now, please watch the intro for the full collective breakdown, especially talking about the Virgo Pisces sandwich story with the Virgo in 2 new moons that come on either side of this Pisces eclipse, one of which is a solar eclipse, and talking about Saturn's retrograde in Pisces at critical degree in the moment of this video, which is the exact sign that this eclipse is happening in, and considering all the other aspects, rulers, etc. Please also prioritize your rising sign first, and then listen to your sun and moon. Eclipses are big, so a one-on-one reading will really, really help if you want more information, especially because this eclipses are life-changing in general, but because this is a total lunar blood moon eclipse, in conjunction, because total eclipse, with the North Node. And at the same time where Saturn itself is retrograding in the sign of the eclipse, it made a point to enter in a few days before it, means it's really, really, really life-changing stuff. A lot of people are going to be feeling it in multiple parts in their life, in the Virgoan parts of their life, in the Piscean parts of their life, in the Cancerian even parts of their life, etc. So I recommend one-on-one readings. And if you would like one with me, you can get my scheduling link in my bio. I have been so busy recently, hence my fatigue plus jet lag. So if you cannot find an appointment, just email or reach out or comment below or something. Comment below, actually. I mean, email, but feel free to comment below if you want, or email. And, if you want one sooner, we'll see if we can squeeze you in. Okay, so predictions for this eclipse. So Leo, this eclipse is activating a very, well, in some ways fun, in some ways not fun, depending on how it plays in your chart, house. And when I say fun, I mean intimacy, passion. And by that, I mean the 3-letter word that starts with S and ends with X. For some people, this could be an activation of that in your life. For some people, this could activate themes of totally different themes to do with transformation. And I mean, different when you think of it from a non-spiritual lens, but when you think of it from a spiritual lens, it's linked. Anyway, for other people, this can activate themes related to shared resources, to debt, to taxes, to transformation, to trauma healing, to death, to rebirth, to the phoenix rising. Other people, this is soul merging. This is intimacy. This is coming together as souls. This is passion. This is ecstasy. For other people, this is mysticism. This is the supernatural, etc. So for some people, this could be matters involving joint finances, inheritances, debts, deep emotional entanglements, traumas, things from the past, marriage, passion, sex, death and rebirth, all coming to some kind of culmination point or crescendo, or in some cases, an ending. This house is the house that rules, one of the houses that rules endings. And here it doesn't just rule endings, it rules endings in terms of how endings tie to death and to rebirth. It is the house of death and rebirth. It is the house of the phoenix rising. So an emotional, and this is the house too of where we go in the 8th house, where you're having this full moon, blood moon, lunar eclipse. This is the house where we go into Hades, the underworld, and we shine a light on the darkness there, and we rise up again from Hades and bring it back, bring things back to life, right? And so it's a time where things could also be revealed, where things could be ending, beginning, where you could be at any point of the caterpillar journey, emerging into a butterfly, any point of the phoenix rising journey. It's a time where things can come out that push you into a new phase of intimacy or a new level of financial interdependence or dependence. The Virgo Pisces polarity that's happening here is also really activating even more your second 8th house axis. So things to do with personal resources versus self-worth, shared resources versus entanglement, independence versus dependence is something that's really illuminated. How you view yourself versus how you show up sexually is a big one too. Traumas and unhealed things and how they tie to your self-worth. Oh, sorry, my earring. Is one as well. And with Saturn's retrograde re-entry at the moment being critical degree of this eclipse, it really adds a further karmic weight to things to do with intimate bonds, healing, the phoenix rising, financial obligations. Think back to, March 2023. What are things that you have been dealing with that have to do with these themes that have been big parts of your life since that time frame, right? Things you've been holding down, traumas, wounds, fears, shared resources, loans, loves that have felt like they've leached onto your soul for years, that connections you haven't been able to let go of, fears, things that you want to alchemize from dark into light, spiritual awakening if you've held back on that, because the 8th house also rules that. 8th house also rules taboo things. What are those things that need to be brought to light? Where are parts in your life where the universe has been trying to teach you lessons about these things, but you've ignored them? And Saturn coming back here is saying, I'm not done yet. This is the last lesson, the last time. Now, if you've been listening to Saturn throughout this time, then it's going to come in the form of blessings. It's going to come in the form of positive karma. Either way, it's positive because everything that's happening is happening for a reason, right? But if you haven't been listening, this is the turning point that makes you listen so we can get to that positive point. This is really a placement of life-changing time for you. And with the 8th house activated here, for some, it can feel like if you're in the ecstatic, passionate, consuming realm, it will feel like that. For others, it can feel like you're in the dark hole. For others, it can feel like you're in a dark hole and it can feel very hard and like it's overwhelming how hard it is. And I promise you, if that's the case, it's because you are in this death and rebirth cycle. And I promise you, you will not exit it the same person. You will exit it someone in some way better and more forward. And others of you could be exiting in the light part of it, at the light at the end of the tunnel part. And this is the part where all the karmic rewards are coming forward. Now, the fact that the ruler of this eclipse is in Cancer in your 12th house is further amplifying the intensity that you must be feeling right now. So Leos, some of you are, because of this, you're going through a death and rebirth. You are going through a very intense death and rebirth. And part of it is being driven by a spiritual awakening. Part of it is being driven by mental health. Part of it, for some of you, could be driven by isolation, by feeling like you've ignoring things, by things coming up to the surface, by having to face your own inner demons, by secrets coming up, by your subconscious, by solitude, by spirituality, by connection to God, by intuition. And this also suggests an intertwining of like hidden factors, dreams, spiritual revelations, etc. Right? This is really big. And this, it could feel very heavy is what I'm saying. But this is a life-changing eclipse ushering in not just this time frame. You could literally be shifting your life in this time frame, but a changing 6 months where you will be going through a continued massive death and rebirth. Sorry, my nose is really itchy. Okay. So those are all different examples. Let me continue to give you some examples of how all of these energies can weave together. For some Leos could be paying off a debt or finalizing an inheritance or releasing a draining financial tie. Other Leos may experience a turning point in intimacy. Maybe a relationship could deepen through honesty or dissolve if the exchange is imbalanced. Maybe they had some sexual trauma in the past and they healed it. Maybe they realize that all of their traumas, wounds, and fears can't go unignored and they have to go through a spiritual journey. Maybe you get the idea here. There's a blend of all of these different energies playing a part together. Okay, Leos, let's do your card pull and we'll do a channeled reading. Okay. I mean, it's reflective of really what I said. One of you listening to this is really going through a hard time. Really, really, really going through a hard time. You might be feeling incredibly lost, incredibly overwhelmed. Like you have such a deep well of emotions that for some of you haven't even looked at in a long time, or you don't even know where these feelings are coming from, or things that have piled on years are starting to flow up. And you sit at this precipice of change, even if you don't realize it, between staying how you are, which will keep you in this pattern, in this loop, and take you further, push you further down into the well, or looking forward and going down a path that will bring you towards a different loop, a circle of eternal joy. And you're here. Remember that with the tarot portion, it's not going to apply to all of you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But you're sitting in some kind of a decision point, a point of, do I turn left? Do I turn right? And it might look like two different decisions, but what's really behind these decisions is the situations I just described. One will leave you like this. The other will leave you like that. And what you have to do, and in most cases, it's going to be your intuitive decision, the decision that your soul has been connecting you to. This is the Piscean element coming through. The intuition that your body is pulling you towards. The decision that, your body is pulling you towards. The decision that intuitively may seem easy, but in reality, when it's fear-based, when we're in the mind and the logic seems hard. And the outcome of allowing yourself to flow through this and to be brave, to pick the decision that fits you the best, even if it's going to seem hard at the surface level, even if it's going to upend a lot of those second house things, upend your stability, upend where you're living, upend what you thought you valued, upend certain financial safety, upending safety of a relationship that doesn't fit you, upending safety of not having to face your demons and traumas by just ignoring them and pushing them down. Even if it has to upend all of these things and in the interim bring chaos, it will later bring you to a much happier place. And if you are feeling this way, I just want you to know it is going to get much better. I promise. And all of this is truly happening for a reason. And one day, not even too far, in just a few months down the line, perhaps even by the end of this eclipse season, you're going to look back and you're going to understand a lot more why everything that is feeling so intense right now, coming up right now, and things that may have seemed like they're falling away, why that's happening. All right, Leos, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. If one part resonated more than the other, it really helps me to know. And I'm also so curious. So please feel free to comment that as well. It's so good to be back. It's been so chaotic in my life and I've moved. And so that was a big reason I haven't made a video in 2 months. So it's great to be back. Any questions, please feel free to drop them and I'll catch you in the next video. Sorry, jet lag. Virgo risings. I know you are going through a hard time. Virgo risings, Virgo suns, Virgo moons. You and Pisces are the two signs that are feeling this entire time frame the most intensely. And if you're not feeling it intensely per se on an emotional level, then it could be just in terms of how your life is changing externally that is really, really driving it. Welcome to your total lunar eclipse, blood moon eclipse forecast for the eclipse happening on September 7th at 15 degrees of Pisces. It's a 3-degree conjunction away from the North Node, which is at 18 degrees of Pisces. Please watch the full, sorry, I'm very jet lagged, so I'm messing up. My mouth is not keeping up with my mind. One of them is not keeping up with the other. All right, please watch the full intro for the full story of this eclipse cycle, especially the double Virgo new moons, which is a rarity to have 2 new moons in the same sign that are sandwiching this eclipse, one of which, the one happening at the end of the month, is an eclipse. Virgo, that's your sign. And Pisces sits in 180-degree opposition to that. So it's hitting 2 of the most important angles in your 4 angular houses. And it's getting hit and then hit and then hit. It's like hit, smack, smack. Hit with 3 moon-related events and 1 event related to Saturn, which also just went retrograde. Which gone retrograde in July, but just re-entered Pisces on September 1st, 6 days before this Piscean full moon eclipse. Your 7th house, once again, hitting your angular house that is opposing your 1st house. My whole point is, if anyone should be listening to the intro, it is you, because it's going to feel very real, very alive. Now, I say this to all signs when it has to do with eclipses, but I really, really recommend a personal chart reading for eclipses, but especially for Pisces and Virgos right now. And actually Aries and Leos too, because they're feeling it pretty hard. But they're feeling it hard, but you guys, Virgos and Pisces, it's the most life-changing time. So some of you won't be feeling it as intensely, but just your life is seriously going to be shifting in this time frame. I talk about the eclipse time frame in detail in the intro. I do hope I do. I kind of don't remember because I recorded it last night when I was very sleep deprived. But just to recap that we started this eclipse season, how I calculated, from August 7th, and it shall continue until October 21st. And the most intense moment is the week building up before this eclipse, which is happening on September 7th, continuing up until the second eclipse, which is happening on September 21st. And that window where we have the 2 eclipses, that window in between September 7th to September 21st is the most potent, because that's really the highest potency and of the overlap between the 2. So pay attention to my next video that will be coming out, which has to do with the Virgo solar eclipse, because it will continue the story that we're talking about today. And that one will be on your ascendant, will be on your sign. And if you're listening to this as your sun and moon, will be on your sun and moon. So without further ado, let's jump into more specific predictions. Whew, I think I need a water break after that. Okay, so that's all. Okay, for you, oh man, I know a lot of... So because I have Virgo in my 7th house, which is relationships, a lot of my close soul bonds, the people closest to me that I feel a very strong soul connection to, have either Virgo risings, Virgo moons, Virgo suns, or Virgo Venuses. Did I miss one? I think that's it. So, so I've been seeing since the beginning of August a lot of intensity happening for my Virgos, and seeing just where it's things that are activating in your chart. I know a lot of you are going through, again, massive changes. So for you, this is landing in this eclipse, and the Saturn retrograde returning into Pisces is happening in your 7th house, your house that has to do with serious partnership, lifetime partnership, marriage, commitment, business partnership as well, in some lesser cases, and in some lesser cases, contract. And in some cases as well, things tied with partnership, sex and intimacy and beauty and all the stuff. And I'm going to talk about how Saturn, part of my forecasting is including Saturn retrograde's effect on this, especially because it's at the critical degree, the 29th degree, which is highly potent and very important. I love me some good alliteration. But if you'd like for further reference, more detail into what Saturn is really doing here, check out my previous Saturn retrograde videos, especially the one that I think I released last November 2024. And listen to your sign, because Saturn was retrograde in Pisces there, and it had just gone direct. And so I talk about more in detail what that retrograde means. So this is bringing a culmination. Okay, so for some of you, this is a culmination. A culmination is a buildup of energy. Think of it like a volcano. Building energy, and then suddenly, boom, there's an explosion. So for some of you, it's like that, right? The energy is culminating into something. It's either going to change or go to the next level, or boom, there's going to be some kind of explosion, confrontation, change, breakthrough, realization, etc. And for some of you, that brings transformation even. For some of you, definitely bringing reveals, hidden truths. It can be because it's hitting the Virgo Pisces axis. It can be hidden truths to do with relationships that were hidden from yourself, from you. You didn't realize how you were pushing things down. You didn't realize things that you felt or thought or did or feel or whatever. And suddenly you're having these big breakthroughs of how you may have played a part in certain relationship things happening. For others of you, this could reveal hidden truths about certain partners you had. You suddenly see their true face. You suddenly see if you've been idealizing a relationship, or you see if you've been idealizing or putting a person on a pedestal. By the way, I have Virgo Moon and Virgo Venus, so just FYI. You are suddenly realizing, oh my God, I had them on such a pedestal. They just showed me who they really are. And everything I thought I felt was wrong, because who I thought they were is completely wrong. And for some of you, and I'm sorry if this is the case, and I hope it's not, right? Their relationships could be coming to an ending, and it could be very sudden. And you're seeing the real face of someone you really had, because it's the 7th house, real hopes for a long-term partnership, marriage, commitment type energy for. That's not everyone. Some of you, beautiful Virgos, like I said, it's a positive culmination. If you've been listening to the lessons that Saturn retrograde has been trying to teach you the whole time it's been retrograding, then it's maybe you started dating someone and it's going to the next level. Maybe they're proposing. Maybe they're becoming serious. Maybe you're meeting the family, right? Maybe you are you're taking that partnership, the seriousness, to the next level. For some of you, it could be if it's reflected to that 1st house, the Virgoan energy, right? It could be like, wow, where have I played a part in a relationship from the past? Because the South Node is currently in Virgo, and here the North Node is currently in Pisces, but it's a full moon eclipse ending culmination. So this combination often has us looking behind, right? Where have I ended things in the past that I didn't want to end, but I played a massive part? I was the asshole. And what should I do now to try and remedy that? Or maybe it's too late. And what are the lessons now? Saturn is here. It's all about lessons. When Saturn comes anywhere, Saturn brings lessons. And with Saturn, you're going to want to think about what has been changing or coming up in your life, lesson-wise, since March 2023. And since then, up until now, has been maybe taken a bit of a pause since July, has been culminating in a series of lessons for you to do with relationships, love, intimacy, vulnerability, and how that has to do with your sense of self, your balance of dependence and interdependence. Some can swing either way. Your balance of how you could be using, etc. Where you're playing. Saturn is about responsibility though, right? So Saturn is about lessons, responsibility, karma. Karma is coming forward for you right now. And that could be good, that could be bad. If you have good karma, it's coming up, right? And none of this is meant to be from fear. You have to trust in faith that the universe is guiding you. If the universe, if you were, for example, engaged and a truth was revealed about this person and they suddenly broke it off, and it's happened within a few weeks of this eclipse, trust that that was God, the universe, protecting you. Trust that whatever came up, the truth that's revealed, don't doubt it. People will show you who they are at this time. Similarly, if you are one of the stories where things have been going so well, you've learned the lessons from the past, and you've been handling things good and relationship things have been getting better, and someone came into your life again at this point and it felt great, and you're feeling pulled to take it to the next level, trust that. And if you're one of the ones where, because of the first house energy, something with the self was blocking relationships from blossoming, where Saturn has been trying to teach you lessons about letting love happen and he wasn't listening, then this is the point right now where all of the things that are coming up emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and the external stress are pushing you to realize that about yourself and could be presenting this small opportunity of window for you to correct. Okay. For some of you, if you're single, and some of those are single, right? But if you're single and none of those apply, right? Then this could be a time where you could be having a fated meeting and meet someone who has serious potential, or this could be a time where you have a big realization that changes your approach to relating in love and dating, etc. Now, like I said as well, the Virgo Pisces polarity is really activating your 1st to 7th house axis of self versus the other. And so you're being asked to balance, where did you swing too high in interdependence? And where did you, where did you swing too high in depending on someone? Where did you swing too high in being dependent and using that as a shield where actually you were fearing vulnerability? Right now, relationship themes that have been coming up from August until October, this is a life-changing destiny moment for you. Fate is calling you here. Fate is pushing you in different directions. Fate is bringing who it brings in your life at this time in and out, and based on how you're reacting, it's reacting with what lessons it pops up in your face next. You are not going to want to fight what it's bringing or taking away, and you're not going to want to fight your intuition. What you are going to want to do, and what you're being asked to do, is to fight ways that you have been pushing, not surrendering, fighting, closing off, sabotaging, not listening, not learning, etc. Commitments could be tested, illusions can dissolve, and at this point, everything is happening to bring real bonds to the surface, whether it's only real bonds will remain, or real bonds will enter, or you're being pushed to go after real bonds. And with this eclipse ruler, Jupiter, being in Cancer, this suggests that some of these relationship revelations could somehow be tied to social circles, to social groups, to friends, to long-term goals, to long-term dreams, to long-term hopes, to a sense of belonging. A partnership could somehow impact that or be tied to that. Thinking if I forgot anything. And with the Sun and Mercury right now having a superior conjunction in Virgo, your first house of identity, your creed, your body, your personal direction, where you have for your ascendants, for the risings of you, where you have your ascendant, you are suddenly seeing yourself, because Saturn brings self-responsibility. You're seeing yourself as the perpetrator in some ways to how we got here. You're seeing yourself more clearly now. You're seeing more what you deserve. You're seeing, for some of you, for some where you've sabotaged, for some where you've gone in the way in the past, for some where you've grown, for some you're seeing now an opportunity to further embody yourself with another. And this influence of this insight really affects how you show up now going forward in relationships. So what can this look like? For some Virgos, this could be a shift in relationships that could ripple into your social networks, that could force a redefinition both of self or community. For some Virgos, it could look like, a partner breaking up with you and them stepping away. For some Virgos, it could look like a deepening of commitment in a faded way and seeing how all the growth you've done in the past is finally paying forward. For some Virgos, it could be a reckoning of where you've messed up when it comes to relationships, and that's coming to haunt you like a Christmas tale with Mr. Scrooge being haunted by the ghosts of Christmas past, and suddenly realizing, oh my God, what have I done? Pushing you to the point where it causes some external action or a massive breakthrough. Okay, Virgos, let's do your channeled message. Okay, look at this, how beautiful. This is exactly the energy. This is your full moon eclipse is happening in Pisces, which is a water sign. And we talked about it being soul relationships, soul contracts. We talked about if you've been ignoring intuition, ignoring things from the past, etc. And we have this beautiful, beautiful card called Opening Hearts. And it talks about deep connections, water blessings, tying to that Piscean energy. Of course, there's a lot more cards that I pulled here, and one that I just dropped. That's all. And let's just see. Okay, let's just see what comes through. Well, it's very easy, isn't it? Very, very, very easy. 2 stories, but somehow all linked. All of you Virgos, every single one listening, is having things to do with the heart come up. Things to do with the heart. And all of you are in a very, very profound portal right now. One of the most profound portals that will exist in your entire lifetime. The universe right now is giving you a multitude of opportunities and a multitude of blessings that are either being disguised as challenges, upheavals, or lessons. And you sit amidst these all. Some of you not seeing what's in front of you, not knowing to understand how to come up and how to decide in between them. And some of you lean towards pushing what the universe has granted you away. And some of you lean towards grasping it truly. By the way, this card is also, I don't know how to say this in a politically correct, classy way. I suppose you can tell from the imagery. This card is a considered indication of like intimacy coming soon. This is not necessarily related to what I'm channeling here. I do see that for some of you. Some of you are calling in some intimacy. Okay, but yeah. And so you're in this massive portal that is asking you to awaken your consciousness, to not make the same mistakes you have made that have to do with wounds tied to your sense of self, wounds tied to vulnerability, wounds tied to independence or dependence, wounds tied to relationships. Stop it. Stop making those mistakes. This is you're in a portal right now where your life is literally going to change and is going to be defined by how you act within this time frame, and how much you truly surrender. Surrender to what? The heart. Opening of the heart. Opening of the heart. Virgos, where are you in your head? Where are you in your head? Where are you thinking, this seems too good to be true. I can't let it happen. Something seems off. It's not going to work out. It's too hard. I'm out. and ignoring the heart? Where are you thinking, oh no, he just broke up with me. I don't want to lose him. I'm never going to find someone else like him. Oh, I'm getting older, and where am I going to find someone like him? And there's no one like him. I'm going to beg him to take me back, even though he didn't treat me well. That's the mind. That's fear. That's hyper analyzing. Whether it was either of the situations, whether it was running away from something true, or running towards something that's not aligned. And you're being asked to reconnect to the heart and to drop into the heart. So what I would like you to do is to close your eyes and to imagine yourself pushing your awareness down into your heart. And as you do, I want you to imagine that the sounds of the critic, the protector in your head are being dimmed, and connect more to this heart space and also the lower chakras here. Ground more. The water for you right now would be incredibly powerful. And reflect. Am I repeating any past decision mistakes? What wounds that I'm carrying in terms of self and relationship are blocking the way? What do I really want? Who do I really love? Do I really feel safe with this person? Did I push them away? Are they not the right person for me? Depending on which of these stories it is for you. But for all of you, I will say, listening to this message, you are being presented with very strong opportunities right now that some of you are in the process of pushing away and some of you have accurately run towards. But it is all within your control which way to go. Listening to them as the lessons come up and as your intuition calls you is what is the most vital thing for this time. And the reward is joy. Pure joy and embodiment. Virgo, I've spent a very long time on your video, so I'm going to call it here, and I will talk to you and see you in the next video. If you have any questions, and if one part resonated more than the other, the tarot versus astrology, sun, moon versus rising, I love to hear it. It's so helpful, but also so interesting and insightful. So please feel free to drop that below. Feel free to say hi, anything at all. And yeah, see you in the next video. It's good to be back. Hello, my beautiful fellow, wonderful, lovely, charming, charismatic, cute, adoring, loving, well-dressed. Okay, I'll stop. Hello, Libras. I'm a Libra sun, hence my little tiny bit of bias. Welcome to your total lunar eclipse in Pisces video. This is a blood moon eclipse happening at 15 degrees of Pisces, so 3-degree conjunction away from the North Node, which is at 18 degrees of Pisces, happening on September 7th, 2025 for most people in most time zones. For some of you, it might be September 8th. Please do watch the intro for the full story of this eclipse, for the full understanding of everything I am using as a part of what I'm looking at to come up with the predictions that you'll hear, including the Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle, what I call the Virgo Pisces sandwich, Saturn retrograde in Pisces, which just re-entered Pisces on September 1st, 6 days before this eclipse in Pisces. So that's really big, especially because it's at the critical degree, the anaretic degree, the 29th degree, the really some shit is going down, pardon my French degree, and including rulership, other aspects, everything, all in the intro. Mind you though, I was even more delirious than now and even more jet lagged than now when I recorded the intro. So I apologize in advance if it's all over the place, but I am told I'm more entertaining when I'm sleepy. So maybe you will enjoy it. And I think that also allowed a lot more like stuff to come through. So go watch that. At the end of your forecast today, we shall be doing a card pull. And so there'll be a channeled message at the end coming through. Which is why, as always, I do recommend you prioritize your rising sign, but which is why I also recommend you listen to your sun and your moon. Maybe one, if not all, will have something you need to hear. When it comes to the intuitive channel part, remember to take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and to not let it take anything away from you. Okay. So eclipses are massive, massive, massive time regardless. They happen twice a year. They come in pairs. There's always one eclipse 2 weeks away from the other. This one is special for a few reasons that I outline in the intro. But to understand the timing of this, how I calculate the timing of the grander eclipse window. I'm looking at mainly October 7th. Sorry, my brain. Sorry. I'm looking at mainly August 7th until October 21st. The most potent time, of course, being to the few days leading up to the first eclipse happening on September 7th. So we are in the most potent time frame as we speak. And going up to the second eclipse, which is happening on September 21st, it will be a new moon eclipse in Virgo. Now, remember, this is actually the second new moon we're having in Virgo in the same sign since August. The first one was August 23rd at 0 degrees of Virgo. The second one will be at 29 degrees, the anaretic degree of Virgo. Big. We have 2 anaretic degrees being hit within the same month, tying to 2 different eclipses and 1 eclipse sandwiched between 2 new moons, one of which is an eclipse, and the eclipse in the middle is a total lunar eclipse. This is and Saturn playing a part here with the ruler of this eclipse, Jupiter, trining the eclipse itself. Do you hear me bashing this table, right? This is big energy. So you shall be feeling it. Listen to all signs. If you can't do a one-on-one reading, one-on-one readings in this time are truly highly recommended. Not just saying that, but truly because eclipses in general, massive in general, right? This one. And because this is really setting a trajectory for the next 6 months, and how specifically it will affect you is truly in your chart. Okay, let's dive into it. No more, yeah? Okay, so for you, daily habits, daily responsibilities, job responsibilities, health, routines, clarity about what you want your daily life to look like, clarity about what needs to shift could all come through. There could be a breaking point. This could manifest as a revelation about your health, a job ending or transforming, or the realization that your current daily structure is unsustainable, or your revelation, that's the word I was looking for, that something, when we tie it here to kind of what's happening on the axis, something to do with your mental health, your spiritual health, your spiritual habits, your emotional health, your wounds, your fears, things you've tied down, therapy, healing is playing a part, could be manifesting in your daily life, in your physical health, in your workplace, etc. For some of you, career could be the thing. It could be an imbalance between career that is, or something to do with career that is causing an imbalance in your daily life, a daily structure that's unsustainable, taking you away from taking care of your health. And this is at a point where it really needs to be fixed. For some of you, your health could be acting up, and that's serving as a catalyst to bring this to your attention. For some of you, you've been paying attention to all the same lessons that Saturn's actually been trying to teach about some of these things since March 2023, and then again later in 2024 throughout this whole time. And so maybe you've already put in the right structures, taken the things to the right commitment level. And so for you, it's more about perhaps collecting the positive karma in doing this, having positive things happen because of this. Whereas others, for you, it's like the final nudge where Saturn is like, get your shit together. I'm talking to you. And when Saturn moves, especially now, Saturn is moving here around an eclipse in the same place where the eclipse is. The eclipse is activating the doors of fate, activating things, shifting, changing that are bound to happen. Anything that's not meant to be will slip out. Anything that's meant to be will slip in. Things are revealed. Their breaking points happen, changes happen suddenly. But Saturn retrograding at the critical degree is like, it's time for you to learn your lesson. It's time for you to listen to me. It's time for you to get serious. It's time for you to bring in responsibility. It's time for you to bring in discipline. It's time for karma to come in. It's time for things that have been ignored to show up. It's time for where you've been working hard to have fruits of your labor. So Saturn comes in when it comes to all of this. Like I said, with the rulership here, work and health revelations are now somehow tied together and could impact your career direction or your public identity or vice versa. We also have a Sun-Mercury superior conjunction happening in Virgo that's lighting up your 12th house. So here, and remember, Virgo is where we have the 2 new moons, right? And so this is tying to this eclipse because it sits in the middle, and the conjunction is happening at the timing of this eclipse. So this means that some kind of mental clarity about what's been draining you behind the scenes is somehow helping you reset routines, reclaim balance. That's realizing what needs to change in terms of discipline when it comes to spiritual, mental health, emotional health, healing, and how that's affecting you in the physical realm and the daily life realm in your physical body. So what are different ways that all this energy could play out? I mean, I've given you a few different examples, but if we had to look at this as like a few different story arcs, one Libra maybe could realize that a health issue is tied to overworking and then restructure their job and start prioritizing their health and put it in a routine. And the universe sends them hints on how to do that. And then they also start working with a therapist because they realize they're emotionally overwhelmed and that's affecting it too. And then it ends up being really positive. Another may leave a draining role to preserve well-being, and that frees them for a more aligned career path. Others could realize, the career path they're on is just not sustainable, and that ends up pivoting them into a completely new career field. Others have been trying maybe to lose weight, and things have not been working, and they realize they need to shift their daily environment, and so they shifted it somehow, and that maybe the shift is what happened around the eclipse, and then they start to bring the positive there. Okay, let's pull channeled message. This could or could not tie to what came up in the astrology, but this is assuming that one Libra here needs to hear this. A lot of Libras, this is actually bringing a lot of positive energy, even if you may seem very tired and very drained right now. But a lot of why you've been feeling tired and drained is because you've been actively pushing out a lot of old stuff that kept you stuck and pushing out a lot of obstacles and making a lot of necessary change. You're being asked to ground yourself more because you're closing yourself off to the joy that's in front of you. And the universe wants to reconnect you to a lot of that joy. And so for some of you, this could be the joy of learning, the joy of art, the joy of music, the joy of creation that you're being asked to embrace and to bring in. For some of you, there is a message coming in. And there's some kind of action coming in. Someone is taking action towards you, or you're being asked to take action towards someone or someone else. And this is going to bring a lot of blessings. This, energy of the channeled message is very positive, but it's this energy of you don't realize how a lot of what's happening right now is positive because you're not as grounded, because you're tired from the catalysts that were required to get you here. And the universe just wants you to ground, take a moment to be present, to slow down. You're really being asked to slow down, and to introduce more play, more childhood joy, more rest time. And that something is coming. Yeah, definitely. If you're being called or pushed to reach out to someone, there's an indication of that here. But for others of you, you're going to be receiving a message. Someone is either going to be taking action towards you, or for some of you, it's something that's more to do with financial, job related. Okay, Libras, that concludes your reading for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I'd love to know what part resonated the most, especially if you're sun, moon, rising, etc., or anything else. Yes, please feel free to drop your questions, and I will see you in the next reading. Hi, Scorpio sun, Scorpio moon, Scorpio risings. Welcome to your full moon, which is a lunar eclipse in Pisces. This is also a total lunar eclipse in Pisces, and it's a blood moon, and it's happening at 15 degrees of Pisces on September 7th. Excuse me. The conjunction, because it's a total eclipse, what that means is we are actually in conjunction with the North Node, which is currently in Pisces, and it's a 3-degree conjunction because the North Node is at 18 degrees of Pisces. Please do not forget to watch the intro for the full story of the eclipse portal, including the Virgo double new moons and Saturn's re-entry into Pisces, and everything else I talk about, the critical degree, which is the anaretic degree of Pisces, the retrograde, the sandwiching, the energy, the story, the arc, all that, the timing, go there. Please remember to also prioritize your rising sign first and then your sun, and then your moon. And remember that eclipse are what I call the doors of fate, the fate click points. I also use that for vertexes too. And they're levers of fate. And so this is really a time when a personal reading can really help you, because not only do they tend to be so intense and bring about very intense changes in life, that will depend on your chart. But the way as well, more specifics, even beyond the themes of this reading, will also depend on your chart. If you do want a reading with me right now, I am currently very busy with clients, mainly in my my coaching business. It's a bit wild over there right now. So you can send me an email or comment below, or any other way you'd like to reach me. If you're unable to find a time soon that suits you, if you'd like to do a reading, and we will find hopefully the time for that. Okay, so Scorpios, you're actually one of the ones, even if it feels emotional, intense, if there are changes happening, remember it will also be chart specific. And remember that this is just one celestial event in many that's happening on either side. But generally speaking, you're one of the ones where this eclipse is bringing a beautiful energy for you, a very luck-filled energy for you. One reason is you are trining this eclipse. And the other reason is that Jupiter, the ruler of this eclipse, is also trining this eclipse, but is sitting in your ninth house traditionally associated with Jupiter, and also a very lucky house as well. And this eclipse is happening in your fifth house. So we have a lot of this, which is also a house considered of the house of blessings being collected. So overall, beautiful, 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 harmonious, lucky, blessing-filled energy that I love to see, right? Remember, it's not chart specific. So for you, a love affair, a romance, an artistic project, a passion project, an entrepreneurship endeavor, something to do with children, something to do with learning how to embody your true self, something to do with connecting to your inner joy, your inner child, to taking self-leadership and self-ownership. All of that could be coming to a culmination, a kind of buildup of energy, a transformation, an ending, or a revealing in some kind of truth related to that. For some of you, you could see endings or breakthroughs in creative self-expression, or clarity in a romantic connection, or a romantic connection can enter your life suddenly. For some of you, you could be having to balance personal joy and personal self and creativity with community, with friendships, with the collective, with group obligations. And for some of you, a choice could emerge between personal passions and collective commitments. And with Saturn playing a part here, remember that even with these blessings, there is still this heavy feeling of being asked, have I learned all the lessons I've had to do about self-leadership the last 3 years, 3 years? Have I learned all the lessons that that Saturn has been trying to teach you about self-expression? Have I learned all the lessons about creativity and creating and joy? Have I learned all the lessons about children and fertility? Have I learned all the lessons about romance and dating and sex? Oop, I said it. Damn. I hope I don't get censored or something. Have I learned, I was going to say more because I actually used to work on, okay, never mind. So I used to work in tech. And so I won't say more. Okay. Anyway, about the censoring thing. Okay. So, have I learned all the lessons? Yeah. And this about being serious about my hobbies and my joy and my expression and myself and who I am, and being a self-leadership, entrepreneurship energy, and going after what I like and embodying myself, and romance and love and dating and all these things, childhood, bearing, inner child, healing. Have I learned those lessons? Some of you have, some of you haven't. And that will impact how strongly the Saturn retrograde aspect hits you. Saturn retrograde also brings karma forward. And so it'll affect that as well. And this is also testing your seriousness when it comes to, have you applied all of these? Have you, the seriousness of your creative pursuits, your romantic connections? Casual ties could dissolve while lasting commitments can deepen, right? And with the ruler of this eclipse being in the ninth house, a lot of you, all of the stuff happening with everything I just talked about, could be pushing a lot of you to travel, to go somewhere. And that's tied to your overall, there's a link here, right? This could be tying you to pursue different higher education. This could be pushing you to pursue publishing, writing. This could be pursuing you to travel to maybe in a way you have never before, or in a place you never have before. And this is the type of big life-changing travel that's foreign and further and that grows you. This could be pushing to change your overall beliefs about life and your life philosophy and spiritual philosophy as well. And for some of you, all of that, the travel, the higher learning, the philosophy, the publishing, the writing, the beliefs, that could somehow actually be influencing your romance life. That could be influencing how you're showing up in everyday life. That could be influencing things related to your inner child, child rearing, etc. So this suggests that there's this link here between those two different fields, that your creative or romantic revelations, self-expression revelations, self-embodiment revelations somehow tie to your expansion of your worldview, of education, of long-term distance opportunities, of your spiritual growth journey. And with the recent Jupiter-Venus conjunction that just recently happened in Cancer, this could have brought blessings in education, in travel, or in spiritual expansion. And this eclipse is just clarifying how your creative life, your romantic life, your entrepreneurial life, your self-embodiment life, your true life is aligning to these bigger journeys and your bigger vision. Let's see what else. So, okay, that was kind of like the big summary. I like to use examples too of just maybe two examples of how this could blend together, even though I just gave like a bunch, but weave it all together for you. So for some of you, some Scorpios may end a casual romance to focus on a serious partnerships. Some Scorpios, could redirect a creative project into a larger educational or publishing platform. Other Scorpios could step away from a group to devote their energy to their art or to their children or to their self-embodiment. Some Scorpios could be trying to understand, trying to embody and self-express themselves better, and maybe trying to change their romantic opportunities and trying to bring back joy in their life. And that ends up with them having big spiritual experiences and traveling or signing up for new programs and degrees, or those things can be the pivot for that, etc. Okay, let's go into your card portion now. You are being asked to look beyond your horizons, to look beyond the world that you have around you. A lot of you're going to have to change your world somehow. You're doing that now, whether that means going out and traveling, changing your world philosophy, changing your spiritual view, changing the world around you, literally how you live, how you show up, what you see. You're being asked to go out more in the world. Stop saying internally, stop saying in at home. Start taking real solid action, practical action, the type of action that is in the external. That's not just let me plan, let me research, let me put in a data sheet. No, action that is let me book, let me leave, let me get out the house, let me close the fucking door and lock it, let me get on a plane and go somewhere. Pardon, I don't know why I just swore. Pardon my French. Others of you are realizing, and some of you haven't, but have to realize how you have built around yourself. What's that phrase? A glass prison, glass walls, a glass ceiling that does not really exist. That you put the blindfold on yourself, but your hands are not even tied. You yourself can just take off the blindfold, and the opportunities and blessings that come for that are absolutely massive and absolutely abundant. And some of you have realized this now, and just realized this, maybe are realizing it with the eclipse. And this is triggering a death and rebirth cycle. And this death and rebirth cycle for you is something that's going to continue into the future as well. Yeah, that's your message. It's beautiful. I really like it. Okay, Scorpios, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment box below. I'd love to know what part resonated and why, so feel free to share that with me. It is great to be back, and I will see you in the next reading. Hi, Sagittarius, and welcome to your total lunar eclipse in Pisces forecast. This is a blood moon eclipse, and also when we say it's a total lunar eclipse, it means it is in conjunction to the node, one of the nodes. And in this case, it is in conjunction to the North Node at 18 degrees of Pisces. So it's a 3-degree orb because the eclipse is happening at 15 degrees of Pisces on September 7th. Please watch the intro for the full collective story of this eclipse cycle and all the aspects and all the celestial energy that I'm considering right now in today's forecast, beyond just, basic astrology of where the eclipse is happening and what house sign, etc. Please remember to listen to your rising sign, or your otherwise known as your ascendant, first, and then your sun and your moon. And eclipses are very major fated events. So I do believe that a one-on-one reading tends to be best to understand exactly how it's unfolding for you and if it will be hitting you more intensely than others. But listening to a few different general readings, making sure you're listening to your rising, your ascendant sign, as well as your sun, could, as much as possible, help give you that info. But do remember, all of this is still general. At the very end of your astrology forecast, I'll be doing a channeled card message for all signs, for each, for extra guidance. And when it comes to that, please remember to take what resonates and leave what doesn't, and don't let it take from you. Okay, Sag, let's get started. So Sagittarius, this Piscean eclipse in your fourth house is activating things to do with home, where you live. It could be literal home or an emotional feeling of home, your family, for some of you, your mother, your property, your roots, your ancestral lineage, your family, trauma, karma, wounds, etc. For some of you, a major shift could occur in your living situation. For some of you, a major shift could occur in your family dynamics. For some of you, hidden truths within family or ancestry could be revealed. For some of you, a property or home matter may reach some type of culmination. I explained a little how this in the intro, so go watch that. Not a little, I explained a lot in detail in the intro, how this Piscean full moon eclipse is sandwiched in between two Virgo new moons, which is a rare event to have two new moons within one sign, one at the 0 degree and one at the critical anaretic 29th degree. So both at critical degrees, one at the starting, one at the ending. And the second Virgo new moon is an eclipse. So this is powerful, and it's incredibly activating that 180 degree axis between Virgo and Pisces, and activating that polarity. So for a lot of you, there could be themes of career versus home, public life versus private life, events in family or living situations influencing career direction and a sense of purpose, and vice versa. I'll also explain in more detail, go watch the beginning, about Saturn retrograding and entering Pisces at the critical degree, and being at critical degree at the time that this Pisces lunar eclipse happens. What that means for you is Saturn retrograde re-entering Pisces at the anaretic degree at the time of this full moon eclipse in Pisces adds a very big karmic gravity to things like ancestral healing, family lineage, property matters, family obligations, boundaries and discipline, responsibility, commitment, justice, karma, truth, etc. are somehow being required when it comes to home, living situation, family, and healing your internal emotional world and finding peace in your internal emotional world. Oh, wow. I just noticed something that is very relevant to a Sagittarius ascendant that I know. The eclipse ruler, Jupiter, is in Cancer, which is your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, debts, death, and rebirth. This is the house that rules also very, very deep sexuality, sensuality, in the sense of soul merging, and rules soul merging in general, even in terms of love that is so profound. You really merge into each other. You intertwine souls. It also rules healing of traumas. It rules in a way, transmuting our demons. It rules going into the dark and healing that, transmuting that pain. And like I said, it rules death and rebirth, and that it could quite mean metaphorically, as in like a phoenix death rebirth moment, or it can mean quite literally, heaven forbid, but in some cases, well, in a good sense. Sometimes we see people giving birth in this time. Sometimes we see, heaven forbid, but themes of death popping up. So how this relates to you is somehow it's popping up in family life, home life, living situation, living scenario in this eclipse. And with it being in Cancer, which is a very emotional place for you, and with this Piscean eclipse being in Pisces, which is also a water sign, 2 water signs, you could be, your sleep could be affected, or you could be feeling very hypersensitive, very emotional. Things from the past could be coming up to do with some kind of loss or trauma or intimacy or soul merging or debt or something. And somehow that's affecting or tied to things to do with the home, family, roots, etc. A lot of you could be having weird dreams, strange dreams, interpretations like that. And all of this is coming up for really a good reason, right? Even if it doesn't seem like that, things that come up in this time come up for a reason. So if anything is leaving or entering your life at this time, know that it was meant to be. And with Saturn re-entering here at the same time, there's also something to do with lessons. The universe may have been trying to teach you lessons to do with family and home and your emotional inner situation, your relationship with a female figure in your life, perhaps your mother, what home means to you, the healing, family dynamics, all of these. And maybe you have been listening to these lessons, maybe you haven't. I would pay attention to things that have shifted now going back all the way until March 2023, or lessons that tried to come up. What were lessons that you've been ignoring? What similar themes are popping up right now that you can show the universe you've learned, or it's the universe's sort of final chance to reintegrate, help you integrate these lessons in sort of the deciding fate of how karma will play out for you when it comes to them. Sorry, I'm gonna have a sip of water. So, so that is your forecast. I can give maybe a few kind of story-like examples of how these different energies tie together. Oh, also for some of you, we have the Sun Mercury superior conjunction in Virgo that's illuminating your 10th house of career and reputation. So some of you could be having some kind of positive shift or message or something coming in to do with career. For some of you, career clarity could be coming as a result of changes to do with your home or your family life or your internal emotional system or your living situation. For some of you, you could be getting positive recognition or just positive message or news coming through in terms of purpose and career. Now, tying the whole everything together. So what this could look like, right? The more anecdotal story vibe. I don't stick to what I say now and just kind of blend everything I said before together. First, once some Sagittariuses may be relocating and relocating where they live, this could, for some, be due to a career change or purpose-related things, or some could be resolving a family inheritance issue that reshapes their financial landscape. Some could be having things that have haunted their family coming up right now in their psyches, in their dream, affecting their sleep. And it leads to some great positive breakthrough and deep emotional healing. And unbeknownst to them, that's also somehow been affecting their work life. And then so that stress is relieved. Some are waiting or having important conversations when it comes to work while shifting something about their living situation and maybe healing some relationship dynamic with their mom. Some could be realizing that some of their unprocessed, unhealed wounds and stories could be negatively impacting family life, and they make the decision to break that cycle and finally heal something. Some could be deciding to go spend time more with family, and this could, lead to some kind of new start when it comes to career at the same time. These are just different ways that we can blend all these energies together. Okay, now let's do the channeled reading portion. Oh, I don't know why I'm getting all the same cards from the last readings, which is kind of spooking me a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, so like 1, 2, 3. 3 of these are the exact same cards that have popped up in multiple readings. Fairly interesting. Okay, so a lot of what's coming through right now to you in your psyche, in your head, in your mind, in your life is part of a bigger spiritual path that you're being asked to walk. And spirit guides are the universe is taking advantage of moments where you could be in isolation or spending quiet time to try and reach you. They're using your feelings to stir up things, to stir up deep emotions. For some of you, you're having a hard time identifying where these feelings are coming from or why things are feeling stirred up. Some of you are feeling like you don't know where you belong. You don't know where your home is. And there are things that from your past life to do with that, actually, that you're being asked to face directly and heal. For a lot of you, your guides have been trying to connect with you, universe, God, however you like to think about it, right? I'm not scared of the word God. A lot of people who have unhealed religion-based trauma are. But yeah, in a way, God and all beautiful spirits only tied to God have been trying to, in a way, get to you and guide you on a path. And this is a spiritual related path. And connection to spirit is very important right now. And you can connect to God through prayer. And that is something that could be helping you in this time to shift through some of these feelings of confusion and heavier emotions that you're feeling. A lot of you right now are feeling like you kind of don't know why you're feeling so emotionally up-leveled and upheavaled. And some of you could be feeling alone, or that your strength is more depleted. And pushing things down is not the answer here. That would have the opposite effect of what you want to do. And just trust that things that are coming up now are coming up for a reason, and you're being guided. And there's more that you know that is in your control, but you have to stop ignoring the softer things and the harder things and the darker things to look at. Like, okay, great. You're great at your career, great at charging forward and executing things that are more practical in life. But this is time to have the type of bravery and strength that's needed to handle the more emotional things and the harder things for some to look at, and to bring in accountability when it comes to your own internal emotional state and how that could be spilling onto family, or how something to do with family could have affected that you have been maybe not fully ready or to release, process, etc. Remember that everything that happens in eclipses happens for your better good, even if it comes with feelings of heightened emotions and chaos. Okay, Sag, I'm going to end it here. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them below. I love to know which parts resonated, what resonated the most, whether it's sun, moon, or rising sign readings, or whether it's tarot versus astrology, etc. So please feel free to let me know. It's great to be back after a little break related to me moving. And I will catch you in the next reading. Hi, Capricorn, rising suns and moons. Welcome to your total lunar eclipse in Pisces forecast. The eclipse is happening on September 7th for most parts of the world at exactly 15 degrees of Pisces, which is what makes it a total lunar eclipse, is the fact that it's actually going to be conjuncting the North Node by 3 degrees. The North Node is at 18 degrees of Pisces. For more info on all of that, exactly what that means, please go ahead and watch my intro. The intro also contains the full Virgo Pisces story that's happening right now, and with this Virgo Pisces sandwich effect that we're seeing in the sky, as well as how Saturn retrograde at the anaretic 29th degree is playing a part. This is all very massive stuff, and it will be affecting this and other stuff, including other aspects like Jupiter's trine to this eclipse, which is the ruler of this eclipse, will be affecting the forecast that you hear for your sign. To understand more what this all means, and also including my collective predictions, I recommend you go and listen to the intro. Remember to prioritize for the all signs your rising sign or your ascendant first. And if you're new to astrology, that's something you have to calculate separate to the day you were born. Then listen to your sun, and then listen to your moon. For eclipses, more than perhaps any other time besides your solar return, which is like your birthday, I recommend a personal reading to show you how the next 6 months will be unfolding, but what this heightened time and this life-changing time is bringing for you. And that degree of which it is life-changing, by the way, it depends really on your chart. And so, for some people, it's very easy to quickly look at their chart and see like, okay, yeah, you're going to be one of the ones that is affected so deeply. And others think that still themes will come up and seeds will still be planted, but the depth, the intensity, the speed, the degree, etc., caliber of the life-changing aspect may be different. And that's all determined by looking at your chart. All right. And don't forget to wait till the end of your astrology forecast for your sign, where I will also be doing a channeled card message at the end for each sign. Okay, Capricorn, let's jump into your reading, your forecast. Okay. So this eclipse for you is activating your third house of communication, siblings, contracts, local environment, cars in some cases, intellectualizations, the way you think. So expect revelations in these areas, expect culminations in these areas, expect sudden endings, sudden pivots, sudden changes, sudden things coming up in these areas. For some of you, a sibling or neighbor connection may shift. For some of you, a contract agreement or something similar may come to completion. For some of you, you could have a sudden change or a sudden epiphany in the way you've been thinking and intellectualizing and communicating with people. Or you could have a message or communication comes through that really shifts a lot of things for you in that sense. With a Pisces being here and an eclipse in Pisces here, a lot of you are having very massive intuitive downloads and could be having a lot of very spiritual experiences. And maybe you're pushing them aside, or maybe you are aware and in tune with that. So just something to be aware of, that this is a time too, with this happening in your third house, Pisces full moon, you could be getting a lot of intuitive nudges. So pay attention to where your emotions or your intuition or your dreams, what direction they're pushing you in. And for some of you, there is some kind of a relationship theme here, because Jupiter, the ruler of this eclipse, is currently in Cancer, which is your 7th house of marriage, relationships, contracts, partnership. And so some of the communication that could be coming through, or that you could be instigating, right? Because Saturn is also moving in Pisces, your 3rd house, and Saturn looks at yourself, responsibility, boundaries, commitments, where of accountability, karma, it's your own karma returning. So for some of you, you could be the one who's instigating an important conversation to do with relationships, to do with relationships. Sorry, jet lag. to do with relationships and partnerships, etc. And because it's in retrograde, it could be with someone from your past. That is very, very likely. So you could be receiving a message from them, but likely with Saturn playing here, you could feel like you want to be the one to reach out with someone like that. You could also be getting, if you're in a relationship, you could be having an important conversation about that. You could have sudden breakthroughs, realizing how your mind and how you think and how you communicate has affected relationships in the past, or will affect what you want from relationships in the future, or the current relationship that you're in. And this is some massive sort of pivoting, life-changing, direction-changing breakthrough in terms of how it will spill into relationships, etc. Let's see what else. Some of you could be doing a lot of short distance travel for the purpose of relationship, partnership, business agreement. Some of you could be signing contracts or legal things like prenups to do with marriage, etc., or having discussions about that. So there's an energy here of blessings and love or partnership. So this eclipse could be clarifying conversations or agreements that allow those blessings to really expand. There could be relationship matters that directly tie into sibling issue or into communication breakthroughs. For some of you, there could be clarity coming about aligning daily communication with your larger vision or your larger education goals. For some of you, there's something as well here to do with travel and spirituality and expanding your mind, whether it's through travel and foreignness and growth that way, or through higher education in the spiritual sense. For some of you, there's a theme of big picture worldview versus daily details. How much of your real life views are you actually bringing into how you make decisions and how you intellectualize? How much of your spiritual beliefs are actually being reflected with integrity in how you live life, communicate, think, and decide things on a day in, day out basis? For some of you, a truth may force you to align your communication with your beliefs. For some of you, there's a karmic seriousness when it comes to words, to contracts, to learning, and a discipline in communication and study, and keeping your word is emphasized. And karma could be coming forward here for some of you. That could be good or bad, right? There's no bad. Either way, it's good, but it could be reaping the rewards of learning those lessons, or Saturn saying, okay, I'm going to give you another chance to learn these lessons if you have been ignoring them up to this point. I would think back up this entire time since March 2023. What are the lessons that's come up since then that have to do with any of these themes that I'm talking about? So yeah, for some of you, it could look like finalizing a contract linked to partnership or to resolving sibling family communication to move forward in relationships. It could look like seeing, okay, where has me being stuck in my mind and me having communication issues messed up relationships? And is this a chance for me to reach out now and fix it? For some of you, it could look like, okay, where do I need to improve my communication skills, and where is it affecting possible partnerships? And where is the way I'm thinking not aligned with my spiritual beliefs? And is this an opportunity to fix it? Some of you could be traveling in this time as well, or planning big travel. Okay, that kind of sums it up. let's go into your channeled messages. I am going to try to avoid editing. So pardon, enjoy being present in the moment and imagine as if I'm right here next to you while I shuffle these cards. Oh, finally. No, well, there's one. Oh, okay. So unexpected because, I guess not that unexpected because you did have seventh house themes coming up, but your message is highly to do with relationships and love. Okay. This is what's coming through. Capricorn, suns, moons, and risings. No matter what you are, remember to take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and don't let channeled messages take anything from you. You have built your own glass wall, glass ceiling when it comes to something to do with love. This could apply if you're single, if you're in a relationship, if you're in a situationship, whatever. But there has been some kind of way that you didn't realize you were the reason that put some kind of, what do you call them? What's the word? It's not coming to me. Handcuffs. You've put the handcuffs on yourself. You've blindfolded yourself, not realizing you are the one that has the ability to take off the blindfold, take off the handcuffs when it comes to a situation here to do with love. Universe is asking you to have strength, to have fierceness, to have courage, and to have self-accountability, to look at yourself and see where something from your side is blocking love from coming in. There's an opportunity here from love. You are closing yourself off from tenderness somehow, and it's pushing away a true love potential. And you have to reconnect yourself back to compassion. But it has something to do with the way that you're thinking, the way that you're communicating, the way that your psyche is. It is all internal, even if you've been projecting this onto the other person. And taking this will require you to have strength because it's difficult, perhaps for you to see and face and heal the wounds and to take accountability in ways that you may have played a part or be playing a part in blocking some of this energy. Universe is asking you to shift the way you're thinking, the way you're viewing, the way you're communicating, and to stop actively blocking love because you are being given a moment here. This portal has something to do with helping you clear out these thought, thinking, psyche-based patterns that are blocking a very active, true love opportunity that could be in front of you or that maybe was in front of you and this somehow played a part. If you're aware of this and you've already been on the healing journey, then the universe is asking you to then take action from that point. What are you going to do? It takes courage to step back out, take action, take accountability, and move things forward. You may have to make a decision when it comes to things related to love, partnership, your emotions, your true emotions, tenderness, and you're being encouraged to connect with compassion, to connect with tenderness, to connect with the heart. And don't let these obstacles of the mind that affect thinking, analyzing, fear, logic, communication be the blockade anymore. Okay, thank you. And if you have any questions, Capricorns, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And let me know as well what resonated the most or what you see active in your life right now. I love to see it and hear it. And I will catch you in the next reading. Hello, Aquarius, Aquarius suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your total lunar eclipse in Pisces forecast. The eclipse is happening at 15 degrees of Pisces on September 7th in conjunction to the North Node at 18 degrees of Pisces. Please remember to listen to your rising sign first and then your sun and your moon. And don't forget, the most important part before listening to your all signs is to watch the intro for the eclipse portal context and all the aspects and the celestial events happening that are affecting this forecast below. For eclipses, I highly recommend one-on-one readings to understand best if you're going to be one of the people impacted the most in this eclipse season, which lasts from August 7th all the way until October 21st, based on how I calculated. But the unfoldings of eclipses, and the story, bad acid reflux, I can't help it. But the unfoldings of the eclipse will really be unfolding for up to 6 months after. And I'll also be doing a channeled message at the end using cards. So stay tuned to that. It'll be for each sign. Okay, for you, Aquarius, this eclipse is bringing some kind of culmination, turning point, or things coming up, truth coming up or ending when it has to do with money, resources, possessions, and self-worth. A new income stream may emerge or an existing one may close. Possessions or self-worth themes are highlighted. There's some kind of, for a lot of people will be experiencing themes that are overall activating their 8th to 2nd house axis, meaning shared resources versus personal resources. A shift in financial entanglements could clarify what belongs to you versus others. Understanding how your self-worth affects money, things to do with debts and taxes, money, investment, net worth, etc. Understanding the tie between sexual energy, self-worth, and money in the spiritual world, and in being able to bring all of that forward. With Saturn retrograde re-entering Pisces, there's a test here and lessons here coming up about your financial discipline, boundaries, lessons, karma, etc. when it comes to security and values, possessions, and assets and money. The eclipse ruler, Jupiter in Cancer, is currently in your 6th house of health, work, daily routines, we said health. And so, and this could bring financial revelations that could connect to shifts in your work, shifts in schedule, shifts in work-life balance, or shifts in physical health, your body and health-related expenses, or just understanding how that is somehow affecting other parts of your life, like your self-worth, your values, your money, your assets. With the recent Jupiter-Venus conjunction, brought and is continuing to bring blessings in your health or your work life, this eclipse clears what no longer fits so those blessings can further expand. We also have a Sun-Mercury superior conjunction happening in Virgo that activates your 8th house of shared resources, intimacy, and sex. And this is bringing in important clarity that could arrive around debts, taxes, shared finances, intimacy, trauma healing, sex, passion. And this could also bring up things to heal, communications to do with vulnerability, intimacy, etc. So for some Aquarians, you could have finished paying off a debt, or some Aquarians could be bringing in or seeing potential for a new income stream. Some Aquarians could be clarifying financial agreements with a partner. Some Aquarians could be signing prenups or having those discussions with a partner. Some Aquarians could start providing for someone. Some Aquarians could start, seeing the tie to their money beliefs, their spirituality, their intimacy life, and how that affects things to do with their assets, their net worth, their money. Some Aquarians could be having a big financial win. Some could be having a big financial loss. Some could be just having a big financial change. Some could be really working on healing some kind of financial or money trauma, etc. Okay, let's do your card pull. Okay, Aquarius, you are currently feeling mentally stuck and very in your head, overanalyzing and disconnected from the intuition, your inner knowing, your body, and you're trapped. You feel like you may be trapped in a situation, but you can't really see your way out. And what is being shown here, the message that's coming through, is you might think it's more of an external restriction, but actually the restriction is more internal, meaning that your own thoughts, your own fears, your own beliefs, in a sense, are binding you in this way. And you at any point, freedom from that, you at any point have it at your accessible to you. It's closer than you realize if you're willing to shift a lot of your mindset. And a divine spark is being offered to you somehow. But if you stay stuck in your head in that way, you will push it away in that sense. And for some people, this could be passion, creativity, vitality, sensuality, sexuality, or an exciting new project. And you've already, I'm having a lot of indigestion. You've already had access to this energy. You're just not claiming it. And what stopped you from claiming it is a lot of those mental blocks in that way, that mindset, the self-imposed glass prison. But this card coming up is showing you that you have a green light. The universe is giving you a green light to go ahead and access these things. Some of you feel like you're missing a divine gift, even though you're being offered it in front of you by the universe. And that's because maybe you're too focused on the past, or too stuck in those mental patterns, or too focused on what's not working. And it's causing a level of dissatisfaction, apathy, and kind of like maybe for some of you feeling of hopelessness. And it's making you feel that mentally stuck feeling is making you feel almost emotionally disengaged. And the answer here is not more analysis, more analysis, more analysis. It's more embodiment in that sense. It's more you need to align, to soften, to ground, to go deeper in yourself. You're being asked to step into a softer power, to receive, to magnetize, to feel it out, to not just try to figure it out, to action it out, to do it, to take a step forward, to ignite joy, and to see where a lot of the lesson here is wisdom in a sense, and how overthinking, over worrying, over analyzing, being too stuck in logic is just causing numbness and confusion and protection mechanism. And really movement, surrender, sensuality, art, creation, feeling, letting go of logic, all of that is more the answer. Do what wakes up your body, your heart, your intuition, right? And that is the answer to kind of get that you need to hear right now to get yourself out of that. And that is the answer that you need to hear right now. That's coming through. Remember, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Let me know which part resonated more, astrology versus the channeled reading, sun, moon, rising, etc. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment below. Thanks, and see you in the next reading. Hello, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Pisces. Fellow Pisces risings. I'm a Pisces ascendant, Pisces suns, Pisces moons. Welcome to your forecast video for the total lunar eclipse happening at 15 degrees of Pisces on September 7th for most parts of the world. It is a blood moon eclipse as well. I'll go into that and what that means in the intro, so please watch that. And it is in a 3-degree conjunction to the North Node, which is currently at 18 degrees of Pisces. Pisces, if you have anything around the 15th degree, I would plus or minus 5 degrees on either side, so 10-degree orb in total. Of course, the tighter the degree orb, the more life-changing this time frame will be for you. And to understand the full time frame, I go into that detail in the intro. Then, either way, this is in your sign, Pisces. So this is an extremely pivotal moment for you in general. But, again, closer you are to that 15 degree of Pisces, whether it's your ascendant, your sun, your moon, or even other planets, to understand how that would hit you, we can do a one-on-one reading if you'd like. But the bigger this is going to be, the more you're going to be feeling it. And even if you're don't even have time to process feeling it, the more life will actually be having big destiny fated related changes. For example, my ascendant is exactly 15 degrees of Pisces, which is exactly the degree of this eclipse. So I am at a 0-degree conjunction, an exact conjunction to my ascendant, and I just closed a massive chapter of my life, moved out of somewhere, moved in a very, very large way. I've opened a very massive, new, big, scary chapter. Things also, changed and closed off in the relationship sphere. I've recently, in the last week, also had a massive breakthrough and purging of something that released me from an old identity, and that pivoted me towards a truer form of a healed version of a deeper identity that I'd been trying, to kind of reach for a while. All of this to say that this is a time for you, because it's in your sign, where you're birthing a new reality, birthing a new life, where truly there are massive, massive changes happening to yourself, to your identity, to your body, to your personal direction, to your life overall. Remember, this is one of 2 eclipses. The second one is Virgo, which is hitting our 7th house of relationships, marriage, love, partnership. And because this Pisces eclipse is coming sandwiched by 2 Virgo new moons, one of which is a Virgo eclipse, some of these lessons are all going to melt together. And this time frame would have roughly started from August 7th, stretching until October 21st, with the strongest peak being around August 31st, going up until around September 24th. Biggest peak of the energy, biggest peak of the life-changing stuff. But some of you, from the start to the longer time frame, would be feeling a lot of this. This is a fated turning point in how you see yourself and how others see you, and how your internal starts to reflect in your external, including your body and the world around you. This is a point where chapters in your life are ending. New chapters are beginning, and a point where you're having massive revelations that can push you to shed old identities and step into a new chapter. This is a part where a lot of lessons are coming up about balancing your needs with those of partners. Relationships could be tested or shift in response to your evolving identity, evolving self-respect, evolving embodiment of your truth. A lot of you could be having a lot of lessons of, where have I not been really being my true self, really expressing my true wants, my true needs, who I really am in relationship with other people? Where have I been crossing my own boundaries, or just not showing who I really am, or not being in true embodiments? This is also a time that breaks illusions. Where have I had illusions about certain people or about myself? Where have I not seen myself clearly, or not seen people clearly? Now, Saturn retrograde, Saturn went again retrograde in July, but what's special is September 1st, it re-entered Pisces 6 days before this eclipse, and it is currently stationed at the timing of this eclipse, will still be at the anaretic degree, the critical degree of Pisces, the sign in which we're having this eclipse, and of course our sign. In Pisces, this is intensifying karmic lessons about self-mastery, about boundaries, about responsibility, about losing ourselves and our wants in relationship, about not showing up as our true self, not embodying our true self. It talks about balancing our needs with needs of partners. It talks about the us versus them. Are we leaning too much towards dependence or interdependence? You could be feeling pressure to redefine who you are with more maturity. You could be feeling pressure to get serious about embodying your true self and your true wants and your true needs, and saying no, and living your life and not living it into other people's terms. And you could be making serious life changes to make sure that that is happening. Sorry, I have a fear that the mic will switch off randomly, which it's done before. I've done before. Okay. And with the ruler of this, and so think back of lessons that have been coming to you since as early as March 2023, that have to do with who you are, that have to do with healing, that have to do with your body, that have to do with your appearance, that have to do with boundaries, that have to do with speaking your truth, showing up as your true self, that have to do with relationships and self-esteem and self-worth, and all this stuff. Since then, what have we learned? What have we not learned? What's coming up for a final lesson? Karma could be coming here at this time as well. And since the ruler of this eclipse, Jupiter, is in Cancer, which is and exactly trining this eclipse. And remember, Jupiter is our chart ruler. Okay, this is bringing a heavier feeling of luck and expansion. So even if moments during this eclipse window feel chaotic, feel hard, but part of you feels like you're just happily floating along with it, or it doesn't, maybe it feels heavy and emotional, yes, but not as heavy as other signs, maybe because Jupiter, our chart ruler, is our chart ruler, and here right now, right, like the North Node is around our ascendant. So you can feel internally that you are being guided. As I'm talking to this, I'm looking at the painting ahead of me of just this path that's going straight into beautiful water. You're being guided into your path forward, into your path ahead. Your self-reinvention, and with Jupiter in Cancer, our fifth house of creativity, romance, children, joy, entrepreneurship, self-embodiment, self-truth, our reinvention is directly influencing our romantic life, creative projects, our endeavors, how we embody ourselves, how we express ourselves. And for some, matters related to children. For some, it's relivening our inner children. And for others as well, right? This change, this life change that has to do with our identity and moving forward has been brought on by things to do with self-expression, self-embodiment, romance, flings, passion, sex, joy, reconnecting to inner child. So there's a vice versa relationship here. And there are blessings coming around this time to do with your creative or your romantic life, your entrepreneurial life, your expression, your embodiment. The eclipse is clearing out illusions so those blessings can be more rooted in reality. And let's face it, sometimes we are prone to illusionment or disillusionment, whether it's in some ways not seeing our full potential, our full truth, or whether it's some ways on other people not seeing who they really are, or the truth that was in front of us. And so what this eclipse takes out of our lives in this time, similarly what this eclipse brings into our lives in this time, is fated. And this is a time really surrender, really flow. And I know that that can be so hard and much easier said than done. At the same time, with the Virgo new moons on either side activating our 7th house, and at the time of this eclipse, there's a Sun-Mercury superior conjunction. Remember, Mercury rules our 7th house. In our 7th house of Virgo, lighting up our house of partnerships and relationships. So relationship clarity, relationship revelations, relationship changes could arrive alongside our personal transformation. So some Pisces could be leaving behind an old identity, an old relationship, an old role that no longer fits. Some Pisces could be stepping into a more authentic version of themselves that reshapes partnerships and creative lives. Some Pisces could be finally shedding an old self that they've been trying to heal and work through a while, and finally purging old traumas. And this could coincide with them totally shifting their life, whether it's a new job, a new career, a new partnership, a new relationship, new moving. Some Pisces could have been trying to figure out things with their body, their weight loss, their looks, their appearance for a while, and it felt like they weren't having a breakthrough. And suddenly something shifts in their life and their body, looks, appearance totally change, the way they carry themselves change. Some Pisces could suddenly have hit the limit, hit the pivot. Some kind of event could have happened the last few weeks or this week that made them go, no, I'm done. I'm not taking this anymore. I'm done. And this is frankly, I don't give a fuck energy. With the things about Pisces is they have a tendency to overgive, and to see the best in people. I think Pisces can even find reasons to find excuses for some of the darkest things or darkest people, not things, but darkest people on the planet. Well, okay, yeah, but they were hurt. But okay, well, they were abused. But okay, they went through this, and that. And suddenly this is an imbalance, right? This is too much. This is where empathy becomes toxic. And so these lessons are emerging right now to bring a lot of Pisces back into balance and to kind of say that can't happen anymore. And so this is awakening in a lot of Pisces, I don't care anymore. I'm not going to say yes anymore. I don't care. I'm not people pleasing anymore. No, I'm not going to say hi to you if you haven't been polite to me. I'm not going to say, yes, you can come visit if I know I'm not going to visit you and I know that this friendship doesn't mean the same to me. I'm not going to keep forgiving someone who is doing the bare minimum. I'm not going to keep feeling like I have to do more and more when less people are coming. You get the idea, right? I could keep going, but these are all different examples of how it can appear for some people. A lot of them are realizing beyond respect and politeness, I don't owe anyone anything else, and embodying more something that's been really hard for Pisces to truly embody, even if they think they have embodied it. And that's, I don't give a fuck. Pardon my French. It's, if you don't like it, but it's true. It's I don't give a fuck energy. Pardon the French. And that's what it is. And that's what Pisces, even if they felt like, oh, but I always thought that before. Did you really? There was always a place in life it didn't show up. Maybe it didn't show up in relationships. Maybe it didn't show up in dating, pre-relationships. Maybe it didn't show up with family. Maybe it didn't show up in people pleasing. Maybe it didn't show up with clients. There was always somewhere it didn't show up. Maybe it didn't show up in terms of how you look compared to what society says is beautiful. And suddenly you're having these crack moments of, I am so tired of giving a duck, if you get what I'm saying. So that's Pisces. This is a massive time for you. And with the influence of the 2 Virgo moons around, this should also, I pray for all of you, be a pivotal time in love as well. And for you, love has been incredibly tied to identity of the self and lessons to do with the self. And you may not have realized it before. And maybe for a lot of you, this is the reason that in some ways it's been withheld up until this point. And I hope, right? We're still at the first eclipse hasn't even happened, but hopefully by the time this video comes out, it wouldn't have happened yet either. But this is a whole season. Remember that. And remember that eclipses, some parts can flow 6 months after. But the themes, the emotions, the heightened energy, yes, it would have started, I think, from August for a lot of you because of where it's sitting in our chart. Pisces, you're not going to come out of this eclipse season the same person. And the difference is going to be massive. Your life will not be in the same place. You're already there. Like, for me, a lot of this happened in the 10 days leading up to the eclipse. Eclipse hasn't even happened yet. And this eclipse is all about forcing you onto your north node, your true path. You have no choice. And if you're ignoring it, it will upheaval things to force you there. So remember, surrender, surrender, surrender. Trust your feelings, Pisces. Trust your intuition. And also, a lot of you, right, Pisces also rules the other realms, dreams, sleep. You could be having incredibly disruptive dreams, incredibly disruptive sleep, intuitive downloads, communication through dreams. Trust your intuition. Yeah, I just had another wild one last night. Okay, anyway, let's do your channeled message now. Stop. This is the card. So as I was, okay. So your message is very tied to hard moments, love ending, opening the heart again, sensuality, love, passion, with all the cards. What was wild is I was shuffling the cards, and you probably heard me humming, which I don't do that often when I shuffle, but whatever comes through, that has to come through, and this time will come through. And the song I was humming is a song called Sympathy, Tenderness, and it's so beautiful, and it's about meeting someone and seeing such a level of soul connection and kindness in their eyes that you fall in love with the tenderness and sympathy in their eyes and that gentleness of their soul, and it gives you hope again. And as I was shuffling it, I was seeing this card in my mind's eye. The song is called Sympathy, Tenderness, Sympathy, Tenderness. And I was shuffling, and I was like, okay, I'm getting tired of shuffling now. I'm just going to take wherever I end. And when I ended and I looked, it was this card, the tenderness card. And this card represents true love. It represents compassion. Even as I'm saying, I'm getting, can you see? I call them truth bumps, like goosebumps. And so for a lot of you, this is a love-based channeled message that's coming through. And you've been going, it could have been, for some of you, it's old heartbreak. For some, it's very new, like this week, right? But there's some kind of heartbreak. Your heart has been in pain. It has felt betrayed. And there was something in the past that you felt like was the opportunity for you that was sent from the universe. And then suddenly it was taken away. And it felt like 10 different swords in your back. And you felt very, very hopeless. And it led to some kind of an ending and some kind of chaos. And then you found yourself staring at the world sort of blank, going, okay, well, where do I go from here? But at that point, the world was your oyster. And it taught you through the guidance of your angels, through divine guidance, through loving support, through all of that, and through perhaps some time of looking internally and applying growth lessons to that and retuning to the self, it brought you to where you are right now. One sec, water break. And in a moment to retune to your heart and to reconnect to sensuality and to refine hope. And for some of you, that's been very, very hard because of what you went through, because of the overwhelming feeling of all of these changes and endings at once, combined with that heartbreak. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Combined with that heartbreak from before. And this message is one of saying, don't be scared to open your heart again. I know how much it hurts. I know that it's felt hopeless. I know that you're at this point where you feel like, where do I even go from here? Is there even anything for me? Is there even anyone for me? I feel, some of this energy. I feel so alone and so destitute. Some of you are thinking that. And your guides hear you. They hear everything you're saying. They're there with you. They're there supporting you. You have the universe, God, love, angels with you and guiding you. And you are so good at connecting to your heart. And just because whatever failed you in the past, it doesn't mean that your heart failed you. And it doesn't mean that there's no tenderness and no love in the world. And that there are blessings just around the corner. Like this message matches the eclipse season, right? This is sort of focusing on more, I feel, the second eclipse that's coming, which is going to be a new moon eclipse in your 7th house of relationships and love. But it is saying that what could be ending and closing around this first eclipse, these themes, right? It's to reconnect you to your sensuality, to pleasure, to joy again, to yourself. It was to break disillusionments, to bring you back to yourself. But don't close the heart off, Pisces. That is the Piscean skill of an open heart. Don't close it off. You learned the lessons. The lessons were more about discernment and having that same compassion and love and prioritization of the self, and to not lose the self and the self's own path. When we are more aligned to our path, remember this is on our North Node, that's when the love will come to you. So if you're ever getting off the path, it's not the right love. Excuse me, I've been talking for over 2 hours. And so something is coming. Love is coming. Love is coming. Have faith. Things can change a lot faster than you even realize, right? And those who broke your heart, those who made you doubt, they weren't meant to be. And something is coming too that's a real sensual opening. You've been in such a dark place of real dark healing, and healing not just the body but the heart and the sensuality, and now you're embodying all of that. The universe sees you. God sees you. They want you to be happy, even if it feels like you've been forgotten. You haven't. Your time is coming. The cards are saying that, right? And when I say the cards, right, we're tapping into source in a way, into the source knowledge that is connected to the divine, with the intention of truth and love, and only all things tied to the goodness and to God. So this is a message truly of love, a message truly of how much that ties to your journey of the self, your journey of looking forward to your path ahead, and how it shouldn't take you away from it, and how you've done the right things. You are aligned. The only thing to do more is to have gratitude, which could seem hard, which you've disconnected a little bit from, and to open your heart and to listen to the divine guidance and the intuition, and to surrender, and to also reconnect with your feminine wisdom, your sensuality, passion, and love, sympathy, tenderness, compassion, true love. I love this image. It's truly my favorite card in the entire deck. And I saw it in my mind's eye when I was shuffling. That's all coming. It's all available to you. I recommend you listen to the song Sympathy, Tenderness and see what it wakes up in you. You can find it on Spotify. It's from the Jekyll and Hyde musical by Frank Wildhorn, and it's sung by Linda Eder, I believe. It's a song that was coming through by itself when I was shuffling. And then this card flashed, Tenderness. Something is coming for you, Pisces, and it will unfold. For most of you, it's going, if not already. I think the beginning blocks were laid from August with how I am reading the skies, and will really show themselves by the first week of October, end of September. For some of you, this is something that will play out in the next 6 months, because eclipses have a kind of 6 months window until the next eclipse window. But for a lot of you, it's going to be by October. But within that time frame, August 7th to October 21st. If that's the case, please come back and leave a comment in the comment box below. Okay, Pisces, remember, I'm a fellow Pisces ascendant, so I want to hear how much of this was true, how much of this resonated with you. What are you going through? Where are ways where anything that I've said in this reading, whether it's the astrology forecast, I don't know, I put that away. I kind of want to stare at the cards more for myself, because technically this was a reading for myself too. Let's bring them out again. But where in your life is the energy, the type of energy archetypes and journey that I've described been coming up? Pisces, yeah, you had an illusion that was broken, erupted. You've been forced to reconnect to yourself. You've been being pushed to go on your own journey and to listen to your own voice and to go on this path and to be brave. And you're finding yourself suddenly looking at this big, vast, empty space, and you're kind of like, oh my God, what now? And there's going to be a burst of joy, sensuality. Pisces, like, this is the last time Saturn retrograde is coming in our sign, hitting us the hardest. And it's if we've listened to it the most, if we've been listening to the lessons during Saturn retrograding in our sign, then this is the point where positive karma is starting to come through. Okay, so this first eclipse is the purge. It's the full moon eclipse, the purge, the culmination, the buildup of that energy, and any endings that need to happen will happen here. this is a point of deep, 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 deep surrender, right? But because it's tied to our North Node, it's one that is pivoting still, new beginnings, still pushing us forward, still opening a new chapter. But really, by the end of this month, September, I hope for a lot of you, there's a beautiful, beautiful story unfolding here in terms of passion, love, and sex, and open heart, and union, and joy, and alignment. Okay, I'm going to end here. You're my last of my readings. Always saving the best for last. Just kidding, I'm not biased. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next reading.